What up, everybody? Have a very now. I know we say this every week. You know the radio game, so you know how you got to introduce the guests, man. But I mean it when I say this, man. We really do have a special guest today, man.
This guy is awesome. He's out of here. He's one of the best to ever do it. It's an honor.
Look,
I know all the terms.
I know. See, because I was watching an interview with you, and you're just like me, man. Because I'm the same way when people try to hype me up. I'm like, dog, shut up, man.
Yeah. It's not, but you know, I just, it's not that you're trying to kill it. It's just that it doesn't sound right that they're talking about you in that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes we don't look at ourselves the way that other people look at us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To you, you know, you just your mom's favorite or most unfavorite, you know, however that situation goes. Yeah. But other people, they might look at you a totally different way. You like, what?
But you have to
honor them. But it's always an honor.
But I mean, that's the thing. People don't like when you're in media entertainment. I think people just look at it as you know, if you're in it, you're just saying like, okay, I'm just going to my job. I'm just doing my job.
You do.
I'm trying to entertain people as my job, but you don't understand, like, there are people listening to you that are going through stuff, you know, and you never really understand that, hey, you know, listening to your morning show might have got somebody through the day, might have got somebody through the week. Maybe he was thinking about doing something terrible, but then they cracked up laughing at you and J Mac, you know, clowning around the morning show. And he's like, you know what, man, I'm gonna be okay. You know, people, you don't really see that part because that's just like the faceless audience, you know. Yeah. But, you know, when we do this, it's to really let you guys know that your stuff was important to people, man.
Well, thank you.
And your show is important to me, my family, you know. It definitely is, man. People my age, people Figgy's age, growing up in this city, you know, you were the voice of hip hop for us, man. Wow. So I'm telling you, man. So look, I mean, look.
That won't like that. My apologies.
Look, at one point, everybody listened to the Madd Hatta Morning Show. I don't care what your thoughts are now, man. Don't try to rewrite history acting like you didn't. You bumped down south like everybody else.
Don't get hated on my behalf. Don't get that hate. You got to be ready.
I'm just saying. But yes, we do have a radio icon with us, man, and somebody who's meant a lot to a lot of people in the city, man. And of course, talking about the legendary Madd Hatta.
All the expressions we said we weren't going to say.
I know, right? The best to ever do it, the icon, the legend, etc. The one and only, the GOAT. Nah. But I'm seriously being serious. I'm not just saying to hype you up, man. Like, honestly, for people in Houston, especially me growing up, like, I didn't know anything about the drama, man. So your show definitely meant a lot to a lot of people. So I'm just letting you know.
Well, thank you, man. I think it's an honor. Thank you for having me here. When Figgy hit me, I'm like, this guy must not know that I ain't in radio. No, I don't know why he's hitting me. And every time, you know, because I'm at, you know, the university over there, with, you know, the Vibe deal, and they always try to get me to do stuff and host this. And Hatta, won't you do this? And I'm like, no, we got a staff, and that's what they do now. I don't do that anymore. So still, it's kind of still weird being out. But I'm getting to be okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, so, but thank y'all, man. I'm really honored. I'll be honest with you. The funny thing is, a couple of months after we had not been working, everybody wanted to get back together just to see each other. And shout out to Cooper. Cooper's still trying to get us to get back together. It was supposed to happen today, and at the last minute, everybody wigged out. But we all got together at some restaurant and took a picture, and I just posted it, and it got more hits than anything that I ever put on a gram.
Telling you, man.
And I called them. I didn't really know that they liked us that much, you know, because you have a tendency, or we did. I think we were all drowning in hatred. So after a while, you see hate, and people, you think everybody might like you. So the people who like you, they don't go and say, hey, I like you. Because they feel like everybody else probably feels like them, and they're living their life, and they're going through whatever they go through. Yeah. But people who hate you, who have nothing better to do with their life, they want to lash out at somebody because their life sucks, right? So you can see what they're posting or what they're saying, or here's this rumor about this person. And so we were so shrouded. And then, you know, because of your crew, you're so small, you perpetuate that, and you become this tight-knit family because of hatred, not because of love. So it was funny when I saw all those thousands of people, like, oh, they liked us. They're like, "Fool, you was on the radio for
now,
X amount of years."
but do you actually think that the hate was disproportionate to the love that you heard? Because I personally feel like
Man, that's
10
really
people,
good question.
10 people could tell me, you know, I love the podcast, love what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, okay. If that one person says your shit sucks, that's what sticks with me. Exactly. That's what sticks with me, man.
And you're probably right, nail on the head, so to speak. I think that no one wants to hear anything bad about themselves or about what you're doing. And so it bites at you because we all love love, right? So you're right. I never really thought about it like that. So it could have been more love than hate, but you see the hate and it's like reverb is on.
Yeah,
so
I feel
you're probably right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, no, it's true. And especially for people in radio like me and Figgy, there ain't too many black people in radio, you know. So, you know, you especially,
last of a dying breed.
I mean, honestly, especially where we're at right now.
So, you guys got to make it for the rest of us.
I know we trying,
man. I don't know if it's gonna happen, man. We got to pivot. We're working on a pivot right now.
Man, what is the pivot?
That's true. Good question.
What is the pivot? And it's so funny because you guys told me how long you've been doing your podcast since like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And if people can think back to 2017, this wasn't really a conversation. It wasn't like it is now. These big corporations weren't talking about the podcast. People wouldn't, oh, did you hear such and such on the podcast?
Mm-hmm.
So you were really doing this before it was the cool thing that everybody's doing now. And I don't think that the industry had an interest in seeing podcasts take off too, because they couldn't figure out how to monetize it.
Yeah.
And as soon as they figured that they could make some money from this, all of a sudden the corporations got interested. And that's what it is with everything that happens. You know, nobody's interested until they see they can make $1 from it, right?
Or they see everybody else doing it, and so they want to jump
on board. Oh, we need to have 3 if they have 3. But they're not doing quality. They're not doing great work. Oftentimes they don't care. All that stuff, man. So
it's also
shout out to you guys. For real, man. That's a long time, man.
Yeah,
definitely. I don't know if y'all did anything for y'all anniversary show, but I'm gonna say early on first, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
We did something for the 200 episode.
Yeah, we did.
What y'all did?
We did.
What did we do?
We just brought some people back.
Yeah,
had a good conversation with them. Pretty much.
Oh,
just
cool.
You know,
who was your first show?
Our first guest was Jack Friedman.
Really?
That was the singer.
Oh man, he's great.
Yeah, because I first heard the Jack Friedman on the Joe Budden podcast. They played him as a sleeper. They got
really?
Yeah, so I'm like, dang, that song kind of hard. And I found out he's from Houston.
Really?
And then the other part was I heard him on Arian Foster's album.
Yeah, he was on.
And
Foster.
So I'm like, damn,
Foster had a good album.
That was a
lot of people
album.
slept on this Incredible Ball Players album.
Yeah.
Foster had a really good album. I think if he really wanted to take it more seriously, he could have done some more with it. I think what happens with people once they've done something so big like he did in sports, other people probably don't give him a chance. But if you go back and listen to that album, it's a pretty solid project.
Now, are you speaking?
I'm not saying that because I'm a fan.
I was going to,
although I am. Love me some Foster.
I was going to ask if you felt the same way when you put your music out, because no, I think your albums are solid, but did you ever feel like
is your goal on this podcast to piss off people in Houston and make them mad? There's some rapper out there that's gonna be mad.
Now,
did people not like? Well, dog, you had classic rappers on your album. You had classic songs. Come on, man. We gonna act like you didn't.
And me personally, I told you I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, so I don't know anything, man. I don't know who don't like who. Or
I got you. I feel you.
Okay, so you might fill us in on this.
You know what? Listen, I grew up in an era of hip hop in this inception because I'm much older than you guys. And music has always been a part of my life, even before the radio. The radio is what the people now know, but music was always the first. I thought I was going to be in some group or some big time producer, but life has a tendency to change or whatever. And I wanted to release music, so I did. And I had friends, Crazy C, shout out to him, and put together a studio, and he would be recording these tracks and man, he was so nice. He was nice enough to let me rap on these tracks. He shouldn't have. Back in those days, he was making a lot of money selling his tracks, and he was letting me rap on this stuff. Oh, poor Simon. I'm sorry, Crazy. But yeah, man, you know what? This is something that you love to do, and you do it. And you know what's so funny? Whenever you do anything, and that's even with the business we're in, you're not thinking the flip side of it is somebody's not going to like what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody warned you like, hey, you know, whatever you do on the radio, there's some people that's going to like you. There's some people that's not going to like you. And you never, ever think about that because you're just doing what you love.
Yeah.
You just got this energy and you really want to do it. And then you put it out and somebody says, man, you effing suck. You like, I never really contemplated if I sucked or not. I felt like, I felt like rapping about this one thing, hanging with my peeps tonight. I just thought it was cool. I didn't mean to offend anybody. So that kind of thing happens, but I'm not ashamed or anything like that. You know, when I hear me, I hear Jigga Man Jr. So you don't have to agree with me.
Do you think you got that reception because you were on some records with some heavyweights? So they compare, like, if they hear Slim Thug and Youngster.
No, I think for me, it was, you know, the truth of the matter is once you make it, I'm a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So people put you in the box of DJ. You shouldn't be doing, it's just human nature. You shouldn't do these other things because Arian Foster, you play football. You shouldn't rap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Arian Foster, you rap. You shouldn't want to be on TV shows and movies. Why not? You can be a person that has various interests. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it was first that, you know, you got some people, like you said before, they will genuinely love you. You Arian Foster, you play football, you put out rap records, you do movies. There's going to be those fans that are hardcore that will follow you. There will be others that will question why you're doing what you're doing. But to me, as long as you're doing it out of love and you're enjoying yourself, do it. But I don't know if I ever got, it was funny with the Down South song, initially, when the song was going to the East Coast, I was the rapper that they were checking for.
Really?
Yeah. But what happens is when you live in Houston, Texas, and you live down south, first you're going to acknowledge that boy Slim Thugger.
Yeah,
and then at that particular time, Youngster was such a phenom in Houston hip hop that to me, he just overshadows the track. But I'll be honest with you, that's what I wanted. I wanted that track to do exactly what it did. I knew as accidental, true story, was a track for Outkast. It was an Outkast remix for
I've heard
Rosa
that,
Parks.
yeah.
And
so that beat was actually the remix for Rosa Parks.
And to this day, Crazy C cannot find the remix track that he did to Rosa Parks. I can't find the cassette, anything. But let me tell you something. Rosa Parks, as it stands, is exceptional. Crazy C put some Southern sauce on it, though, some extra Southern sauce on it. That I think I forgot if he had a harmonica breakdown in it. It was crazy, though. It was crazy. And I hate to say this, man. I prayed to the Almighty and like said, this track could help this record label get off his foot. I need this. And that's when the lawsuit started with Rosa Parks.
Mm-hmm.
They then decided that they did not want the remix. And so the track was sitting there. And so I just shyly went to Simon or Crazy C and said, hey, man, since, you know, Outkast ain't going to be able to, you know, use that, is that all right, man? Spit a little something on there. And Crazy C is so laid back. Yeah, man. You know, he's a producer, so he's not thinking that this is going to be one of the best tracks out the stash at that particular time. And it was like a scientist put it together. Like, I need the best on the North. I need the best on the South. I mean, the whole song was really chopped up and put together in a particular way. And when I heard it, and I think Crazy C as well, we knew that song was going to do what it did. It was really loud. And it's to this day, it still sounds down south to me.
It does.
Still sounds
the beat
different.
Is timeless, man.
It
Straight
really
up timeless,
is, man. And if you're really an audio connoisseur, like you go listen to tracks, not like listen on your cell phone and then plug it in your car and you listen. Like you go in and you like little listening. I had the best engineers engineer the song. There was noise in the song that you could never hear with your ear. Maybe dogs could. That the engineer went in and took out. It was crazy, man. And if you really enjoy production, forget the rap for a second. The production of that track is just awesome to me. And I know somebody like, yeah, it was your track. That's why you feel that way. But I'm telling you, anybody, if you don't know the track, go listen to Down South, Mr. Madd.
I would hope anybody listening to this podcast or watching the podcast would know that song.
Now, they might just be here because they love you
That's
guys.
true.
And they just want like, who we talking to this week? Who's that black guy? Oh, okay, I think I heard that name once.
Nah, if you ain't heard that, I recommend my 2 favorite Madd Hatta songs or Mr. Madd songs. Where you got 2, I know.
Wow.
It's my 2
Hot
favorite.
here, son.
I'm just saying. Also, the song you got with Big Mello and Fat Pat. Can I get a little love?
Man, that
song is so hard, man.
You know how I found that song was hot? Spotify and Tidal and all that stuff. I'm like, this song is of all this because it never was a single, never was promoted or anything like that. And I think it's just because it's these legends from Houston, and then probably what you're talking about too. Can I get a little love? That was me begging because I'm surrounded by hate, so that's me begging, please love me, and then talking crap on her at the same time. But yeah, having Big Mello on there, Fat Pat, and Little Kiki, and then I would do different variations of it. On one of them, I got South Park Mexican on it.
Okay,
I did another version. I put Little Troy on it. I did different variations, but the original one, as you said, still to this day, it streams pretty good numbers, man. It's very, very surprising. I want to put together, next year, my goal is, before I walked away from radio, I was doing all this stuff, books and records. And I have a greatest hits records that I wanted to do, of songs that I never really put on the streaming platform. As well as newer songs as well. So I do have that still playing. It was called Legacy, but I never got that chance I wanted the last year to do a radio lap of the morning show last year, and really didn't get that opportunity because I got kind of teed off at some folks. But
I feel you. Do you have any unheard verses from any H-Town legends that people, or it's tracks we just haven't heard with features that?
Probably some Little Kiki stuff.
Okay.
Probably some Slim Thug stuff. If you go back and listen, I think I released most of that stuff, to be honest with you. I'm really kind of excited still to this day that I had the opportunity, that this old, DJ got the opportunity to really do tracks with some people that he really, really admired.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I really wanted to get a Ghetto Boy on the track. So my very first album or so, I got Willie D on there.
Yeah.
To be with Fat Pat before knowing what Fat Pat was going to become. He was popular on, the Screw tapes when I got him to do that Can I Get a Little Love? So this is before Tops Drop and all that stuff. So it's kind of unique that you even mentioned that, because most people, I wouldn't get the credit for that anyway. But it's kind of cool that, you just had an opportunity. And then his brother Hawk, who I had on the and I wasn't going to release what's the name of the track I did? I can't even remember the name of it.
I know you're talking about. Yeah, with Dallas Blocker. Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Dallas Blocker? I was not going to put that song out because I didn't want somebody to think that I was trying to take advantage, because Hawk had passed away.
Yeah.
And Crazy C, once again, man, he like, bro, one thing people going to be happy to hear. 2, though, this is really a dope song, man. To not put that song out there. He says, although you're very short, he say, you saying some really cool stuff, bro. Let's put it out. And if it's a flop, it's a flop, but it's a really good song. Put it out there. So one of my favorites too is is After the Club.
Yeah.
And primarily because one of my friends was in a barbershop. And this is when you know that, not that you made it, but you forget, like you were saying earlier, and I think we're off tape. And you were talking about, you just come to the job. It's just a job. You come, you do your job. You want to entertain people. You want them to feel good. And that was my only goal during the morning show. But they were actually in a barbershop. And, for us in our community, the barbershop is the place where the conversations happen. So they love you. They hate you. But to know a dude was sitting there and he said they were debating my verse on that song because they said that Hawk wrote it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Damn.
And I'm like, I must be really spit that shit, man. Excuse my language. I'm like, if they in there fighting because they don't think I have the skill set to say the stuff that I thought was cool on a record, I think I'm the winner here. You know, and I'm not hurt by that at all. It's an honor for you to even think something like that. But really, I was just totally trying to be ridiculous with the stuff I was saying on there. And you know, I think the song was a little modest hit. So, you know, but salute to Hawk even getting on that track.
Oh yeah, R.I.P. Hawk, man. Yeah.
For sure.
So did anybody ever write for you? Did you ever?
No, but here's the truth. I always wanted to do a whole album where all my favorite rappers in Houston wrote my lyrics.
Oh wow, like a Diddy or something. Yeah, okay.
Like ESG was crazy. I'm like, I wonder what it would sound like if I could spit ESG lyrics on the song. So I was like, man, I always wanted to just get all these guys that I really admire and just like write. But you know, you're not allowed to do that. Not supposed to be allowed to do that, but it seems like, you know, you get debates in music now with the Drakes. You know, he got somebody to write this and write that. But I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't think it mattered.
Back in the days, I probably would feel like now. Here's the thing. I don't mind if I know you can truly spit.
Yeah.
Or if somebody writes it and you can spit, we don't get mad at the singer. I just don't want to get mad at somebody because a lot of times the hate is that this person has done far superior than you in your career. And this person has figured out a way to monetize what he does or she does. Yeah. So everybody like, oh, they ain't real because he didn't write it. They got a hit, man.
Mm-hmm.
So we can be as mad as we want to be. If you can spit it and it sounds good. And then a lot of times, especially talking about some of these female rappers now, somebody's writing their stuff. I mean, we can sit there and debate it. I'm old school hip hop too. So I understand it. You know, but everybody ain't gonna be Nas, and everybody ain't gonna be KRS-One, and you definitely ain't gonna be Rakim, who's the best ever. You're not gonna be those guys. But if you can entertain me, I'm listening to this album because I want to be entertained. I want to hear you say some fly stuff. And if you got 25 people to help you do it, do your thing. Did I get 25 to help me with mine? No, I did not. Call me whack or whatever you want. I'm proud of my stuff.
No, I mean that's an old school mentality to, I mean, the whole writing, you got to write yourself.
And I respect it. You know,
it is.
I'm from that era, so I definitely respect it. But you know, these kids want to be entertained.
Yeah, they don't care.
You can make it. Now, sometimes I do look at the credits and I'm like, it took 80 of y'all to write
25. Yeah, somebody gave Beyonce hell, or no, the Beehive gave Beyonce hell over one song that had like 25 writers.
But you know what? Now, Beyonce's kind of different. You know, some of these songs, Beyonce is taking the bass line from this record. And that song
the writing could be anything.
Yeah,
it could be a rhythm.
She could be repeating another lyric from another artist.
Then she's Beyonce too. So if she says something that's just in the English lexicon, so to speak, she got to pay for it.
Oh yeah,
because they're gonna come at her. Mm-hmm. Although I think the cattiest thing she did, and salute to be on this, when your girl
Khalees.
Oh man, was over there down talking, and Beyonce like, you know what? Don't take her part out. Stop the streams. Take her part out, reload, and now you can do that kind of stuff. Like with an album, she couldn't have done that. Now you can do that. You know what? Stop the streams on that. Reload it up now with the new one. I'm like, damn, Beyonce.
That was hilarious.
That was some boss. Yeah. That's what that was, man. I'm like, that's a boss move right there. Because it's something that I would have did.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Okay, I'm Beyonce. I'm like, man, I would have sat back and collected that check. Beyonce, please.
Well, she didn't get paid for it. That was the issue. Because she didn't own her music or publishing, so
bro,
that's why.
But it still helps you. People will.
Does it really? Like,
I think it still helps you.
Me and Figgy argued about this.
They gave you a look. You wouldn't get in the look before. I'm not to take anything away from Khalees because I think she's highly. I'm about to say attractive. That's not.
I mean, she is cute.
She is, but she's an incredible artist.
Yeah.
And I respect her artistry. But I think anytime you can get an extra look, take the extra look. Now, whoever's supposed to pay you, you need to pick up the phone and call Pharrell.
Yeah.
And ask why. And I don't understand how that worked, that if she didn't get paid with that, because I don't know if he produced the track and she contributed in some way and she didn't
have writing credits for it. Pharrell did.
I think she's been kind of going back and forth with Pharrell over that too, about her early work.
You know what Pharrell said? Nothing.
No,
he didn't say nothing.
I mean, there's nothing he could say that would make him look good arguing with a female artist like that.
Yeah, I guess.
But
you don't take it for yourself and say, like, nah, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
No, just let it go.
I don't know, man.
He said, "Pharrell, you did the right thing. Stay silent, my friend."
Yeah, you can't. I mean, he shouldn't say anything at that point.
But she didn't get paid. Now I'm a big believer. Now, if she did some work, Pharrell, you should break bread.
Yeah,
but I still think Beyonce, because it sounded like she was taking shots at B. It didn't sound like shots at Pharrell. Lightly on him, mostly at her. Because I thought it was all about a phone call. She didn't call me and da-da-da-da. Like, bruh, I just sampled the song. I got to call you.
Yeah, that was me and Rockett's argument, because I felt like Beyonce, she already got a big team. And now she got to make a personal call to this,
Listen, you know what I mean? Stuff me, man. Drake, y'all don't never, we don't have to talk about nothing, man. Nothing. Just go and make the sample, man. Down south, yours. With a small fee, of course.
Has anybody tapped you and said, because I know Drake and Travis Scott, they've sampled a lot of Houston artists. Has anybody tapped you and said, hey, I want to use this track? Or
I have had artists use some stuff, and I hadn't really said anything. I'm gonna do the Jay Prince. If somebody really does something and starts to make money, you shut up and wait until.
Yeah.
But if there's like somebody locally doing something really cool, like a lot of times they'll, like, if they're doing something, they'll put it on Instagram and tag me because they want to make sure, hey, you know, I just rapped on the track better than you did, son. But I don't get mad or anything like that. So no, no. I have some stuff because, you know, I had the record label. Some of my artist stuff has been used, and I had to, you know, hit them with the cease and desist. So I'll do more protection, probably, which is funny. I'll probably protect the artists that I had on the label stuff more than I would protect my own, because, you know, I have Paul and Cam.
Yeah.
So that stuff I'm very protective of. But my stuff, I kind of like, that was nice of him to even use that. Now, of course, if you make a couple of $1 million, I'm gonna tap you.
Now go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna ask. You mentioned Paul and Chamillionaire. How did you link up with them?
Look. I have to give props to Ron C. It was Ron C and my man
Ron C.
And my man Big Cat. I don't even know how we started the conversation of signing people. There was a brother by the name of Savoir Faire from the North Side.
Yep.
I loved Savoir Faire. We never really got a chance to put an album out on him. We kind of dropped a mixtape, which I still wish I had a copy, but I don't have any more left. But anyway, and he was connected to all these people. And so was OG Ron C at the time. And I don't know how, because we signed Ron C for a 2-record deal or something like that too. I don't remember all the details of it, but I know he worked closely with Watts. And all these guys were coming out to Swisher House like crazy. It was like Watts was producing. It was so many of them. Even with Screw, there was so many of them. There's no way. And then I think, you know, on the Screw side, I don't think Screw really wanted to ever have a label. Like, yeah, y'all can go do whatever y'all want. I make Screw tapes. And Watts, I think, initially was the same way too. He had so many guys coming out that thing that was so popular. But these guys, you know, they want to be stars. You know, at least on, you know, from the guys I got. They wanted to release their own music, and I happen to have a studio, access to producers, and, you know, I don't even think I initially even talked to Paul and Cam. Cam on a mixtape had did this. He wasn't really trying to diss J Mac. It was just like this cutesy little thing that he said. Not cutesy, sorry, Cam. But he did this little rap thing on J Mac. I'm like, oh, that's dope. So
I remember that. He said something like, I could still get stacks about rap like J Mac or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So we didn't, that's one of the rare times when J Mac didn't say that. Some other rapper would have said that, he would have been mad and wanted to fight. But Chameleon said it and everybody was cool. But I thought that the way Chameleon, he was just, his delivery was, it's so, his voice was so commanding. And then, to be honest with you, with the Paul Wall story is so cumbersome. I met Paul Wall, which I did not realize, when he was a little kid and he was rapping. And at this time, you're not really seeing, we got the Beatsy Boys. And when I meet Paul, I don't even think Eminem, I'm sure Eminem is nowhere in sight. He's not. So you see this white kid rapping at a Kenny Smith basketball camp, and I was there. And he was rapping for me. And I guess I laughed, but I wasn't laughing because the kid was whack. I'm laughing like, wow. Rap has really gone far. We've tapped everyone.
Got this white kid.
Yeah. And what happens is, so Paul grows up hating me.
Oh, because he thought you were clowning him.
He did.
Oh, damn.
Which I don't know this whole story until he signs to my label. But, you know, I guess I'm still the Mad Hatter. So, you know, you can't completely just blow me off. I guess he could have. But I don't know through if it's OG Ron C or Big Cat. Shout out Big Cat, who ran the label. And they kept, I'm like, I don't care who y'all sign. Love the guy Cam, blah, 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 blah. But this kid, Paul Wall, I got to get this kid. And then I didn't know at first that Paul was white. And then they said, and I don't know how long after that I found that out. They like, the kid Paul is white. I'm like, he's white. The kid that's rapping with the Swisher House is a white dude. I said, okay. Then
the Tom Hanks scene in Elvis.
Then I listened to I want to hear everything. I like, oh, we got a son. This kid is out of the ballpark. I said, this kid rapping with the Swisher House he's going straight to the top. I said, the Cam kid is great too. Let's put them together. And I said, these guys, they're gonna be huge. So my guys went out there and facilitated the deal. I gave him and everybody thought I was crazy. I gave him like a short term on a contract. It was very lenient and all kind of stuff. I just really wanted the guys and I believed them. In fact, In Love With My Money, because I'm a quasi rapper, if you will. In Love With My Money was a track that I had in the studio probably for like 2 years sitting there. And so my homeboy Cat, he's like, yo, Hatter, you're never going to rap on these tracks. So quit saying you're going to rap. You're never going to rap. You don't barely come to the studio. You're not going to. I'm giving all these tracks to Cam and Paul. I'm like, bro, how you going to just go give my stuff? I'm going to rap on my tracks. So he doesn't listen to me. He goes give the track, especially that one right there. He gives it to Paul and Cam. And I heard how unorthodox it was. And I said, oh, shit, this is a hit. But at this time, if you remember, this track is slow. This is before 74 beats and 70 beats is the norm. You know, we still kicking it in the 90s and up during this period of time. This is one of the slowest tracks, you know, and these kids are coming off a screw. So all this stuff is it's starting to bubble all around this time. And, you know, DJs, you know, really didn't want to play it, but it was a very interesting song. It didn't follow any of the rules. It wasn't verse 16, da-da-da. You know, the whole verse, I always tell people it was hard to give it a name because the only reason we call it In Love With My Money because that's the last thing.
On the hook
with my money. And that's the point of the song too. So I'm like, okay, that's the name of it right there. We'll just spell it funny and put it out there. And it blew up. But I think everybody knew that was a hit. But I was a big fan that we had another cat by the name of 50/50 Twin.
Legend.
Oh my God.
And it kind of skinned my bins. Beat Game Defended lens, passed me the damn ink pen. I know the whole song. Yeah. I'm a 50/50 Twin fan, man. Listen, that whole camp.
Here's why I signed Twin. 50, we're hot at the time. We got Paul, we got Cam, I got gospel. We're over here. We're trying to be junior rap a lot. So we're trying to expand into gospel music. But 50's over there, and I know he's part of the color changing clique, which was Paul, Cam, and all the guys. And they brought 50 over there. And 50, I have the contract. I'm like, hey, 50, here's the contract, da-da-da-da. He pulls me aside, say, hey, Hatter, today I could love you. But tomorrow, I might not stand you and hate your fucking guts. excuse my language. And I walk back in the studio afterwards. I'm like, I got to sign him. I said, I just want to sign him on his honesty. He's saying that he could turn on me. So get ready. He could turn on me. I said, I'm okay with that. At least I know where we stand from day one. I said, sign him. We might lose him, but let's sign him. So we signed. But I loved Twin. He never did the, anything wishy-washy. I think I'm one of those kind of people. Once I get to the end of something, I'm like, you know what? 50 want to lead, let 50 lead. Let Paul go, let Cam go, let everybody go do their thing. We had a great run. And I was a radio DJ, so I didn't overthink it because I always had a job. I guess I wasn't thinking about the rest of the crew, but I'm like, I always had a job, so I wouldn't over hype when everybody, because I think Watts had turned around and was learning to become the CEO that he became, along with Dash and all his guys. And I just thought, I would be an a-hole to try to hold back Paul and being mixed in with the Swisher House. And Paul was so gracious. He came to me like a man. Like, hey, Hatter, I want to roll with Watts. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. I said, it's cool, man. Just finish off your last 3 songs or whatever he had. He did whatever I asked and went off into the sunset and did some incredible stuff with the Swisher House again. And that's where he was from anyway. It's like, sometimes you feel like, damn, I borrowed Watt's artists, dusted him off, gave him some tracks, and then they all went and did their thing. So I'm not mad about that at all. So
his first solo, Chick Magnet, actually came out under your label?
Yeah, Chick Magnet. We probably had 3 Paul Wall records that we released, to be honest with you. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of none of them. I'm terrible, man. But Chick Magnet, I love that album.
Yeah.
I thought the name was cool too. And this is back in the days of album covers too. I love Paul and Kim's Get Your Mind Correct album. The brother that did the artwork, I don't remember his name. He's gonna hate me. He did a video for me too. Oh God. Oh my God. He's gonna be mad at me.
It's all good.
Remember. But he did the artwork on it. I love the artwork on those albums. And I think that's one thing that we lost with the streaming age of really incredible albums. And I love, I'm older than you guys. So I like to read the credits. I was into reading the credits and all the stuff that they had happening on there. So,
unfold the booklet.
Yeah, man. That was the good part of it.
Yeah.
That's what made you love the album even more. Who's the producer? Who is this Crazy C? Who is Montana? Who is Draytoven? I wanted to see all that stuff, man. But yeah, that was a great album. I got real lucky, man, with those guys, man. We all met each other at the right time. Oh, and then when Paul signs to turn that story around, then you can finish. Paul, like, man, you laughed at me when I was a little kid. I'm like, huh? Just out the blue one day, we're in the studio. He just says that, like, it just comes out. I'm like, Paul, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes. And then he painted the picture. I'm like, oh my God, I remember that, Paul. I'm like, Paul, I was not laughing at you. I'm like, you got to understand, Paul. You got to look at it from I'm a black guy that saw hip hop when it was first starting. There were some Puerto Ricans, no white people, and all blacks. And here it is, this little white kid is rapping his ass off. I was not laughing. I was like, damn, look how far hip hop's come. So Paul's like, oh, I understood after I grew up a little bit, but I had to let you know that there were some years where, I wasn't appreciative. But the turnaround and sign to your label, I'm like, wow, this is definitely, I have to salute him on that to let that go, let that little, that little thing go and still sign. So
it's funny that was still on his mind. He's sitting there.
He probably had to say it. And I don't know if he was really, I don't think it was in a hurtful way. I don't think that was hate. Well, it could have been hate. You got some black guy laughing at you because you're doing your rap thing. Yeah. And when you're a child, there's some things you just don't understand.
It was still on his mind.
He said it.
So he felt better that he had to still tell it.
Yeah, but then when he got a chance to hear me, when I explained it to him, like, no, I wasn't laughing at you, Paul. I said, but I thought the rap was pretty good. It was a pretty good rap. I was surprised. He understood. I hope.
No, he did. Paul's a good dude. I never met him personally,
man, he's great. Y'all got to get him on your show.
Yeah, we're trying. We've been trying.
We've been trying.
Tap in and try to get on him, man. He got in a really bad car accident, and his son was with him.
Oh no,
man. They were headed to a show. Austin or San Antonio was headed to a show, and somebody hit their Sprinter. I saw it on Instagram, and I just hit him and said, "Hey, man, I'm glad y'all all right. We didn't talk long about it or anything because I didn't know if he was in the hospital or anything like that, but it messed up that truck." Really,
damn!
You couldn't drive it, so I'm glad that he's all right. Cam, he's going to be harder to get. He's a
we're not going to get Chamillionaire. Yeah. We're not getting Chamillionaire.
Don't say you won't.
We're not. Like, come on, man.
You can at least put the ask in. But Cam's that way with everybody.
Yeah,
he's always been a little off to himself and doing his own thing. He's always had a plan. Always very smart. Saw the future of all this stuff that y'all have up here now with the computers and all that. He saw this.
No, Chamillionaire.com. I remember that. He was chatting with people, releasing music before anybody did.
We thought it was nerdy, stupid stuff. I'm just being honest with you. Let me speak for me. I don't want to speak for my whole crew. I thought it was dumb. Like, Cam, what are you doing? Yeah, man. And then I'm doing this and I'm sending out, Cam, I don't care. You can do all that crap. It makes no sense to me. I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they were doing the mixtapes. Huh? Man, you do the little old mixtape thing, man. I'm making albums over here. Nobody was telling me that these little mixtapes was making the bread they was making, but you don't know. You live and you learn. But he was ahead of this computer stuff. He was into this tech stuff. He understood it before everybody else understood it. And that's why he is so successful now, man. I salute him too, man. You know, he knew what he wanted. He was driven from the very, very start. And it's cool when you get a chance to see these guys.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're basically their children. You get a chance to see them grow up to be men and businessmen. You know, I had a chance to watch Slim Thug literally from high school and grow up to be this man. It's so interesting to see them grow up and be fathers and businessmen. And I'm just honored to have been a part, not necessarily a part of it, but I had a bird's eye view of watching this industry over the last few decades grow and become what it is. And so many artists out of here now, people don't even know half the artists in the city now because they don't follow the traditional route of the sound of the city. They're doing like Tisa Korean, all these kids doing all kind of stuff, man. So it's really an honor to have been a part, to be honest with you, with all that stuff, man. Really was.
I'm glad you mentioned Chamillionaire too, man. I grew up, I was a huge Chamillionaire fan. Growing up in high school, I had the albums, I had Mixtape Messiah, and I want you to clarify this, man, because look, for all of us old school Chamillionaire fans, there was beef going on, and we didn't know. Look, we took Chamillionaire's word because he was our favorite rapper.
Look,
but there's no documentation to get anybody else's side of the story. So I'm asking you this just to clear the air, man. What happened between your label Painful, you and Chamillionaire to break that up? Why'd you release Controversy Sales, and why'd you diss him on the album?
I didn't diss him.
It was Big Cat did.
Big Cat did diss him. I couldn't believe it. When I heard it, I laughed so hard. I was like, we're releasing it. Just because I thought it was funny. Here's when it comes to artists and DJs, the artist usually wins in all situations as it relates to this city. And I'm okay with that L. Not only from Cam, but from any other rapper in this city. No matter if I tell the truth on some stories, it doesn't matter. If they're hardcore fans, they're not going to hear. I think the thing with me and Cam, though, we were able to salvage that relationship because it was always respect there. It was just misunderstanding. He was young. When you're young, man, you got young energy. Certain things happen you just don't understand. And I think Cam would be okay with me saying, Cam always wanted money. And Cam wanted me to give him X amount of money to continue recording. And I'm like, Cam, I have a whole record label. I can't just drop all this money on you. I don't got that kind of money. He like, I don't want the label to pay me. I want you to pay me. I'm like, oh no. And then at that time, Southwest Wholesale was going through its litigation and all their assets were frozen.
Yeah.
So all the money that we made, this is the sad part, all the money that they would have made from their Get Your Mind Correct album, truthfully, they never got it.
Oh, wow, man.
But neither did the label because the company went belly up and it was lawsuits and all kind of stuff. And I would have to talk to Robert Gilliman to get that story because I want to get him on my podcast so we can have that conversation. But I was never even mad about it because I thought Robert was good to the city as a distributor. I think the music scene in this city would not have gotten to the place where it gotten to had it not been for the distribution hub outside right here in Houston. And this man would give all these kids like huge checks. So he was really funneling. He was really, if it wasn't for, he was definitely a part of why the music scene in the city was the way it was. And I had to thank Robert Gilliman for that. So when it went belly up and I did not get my money and I could not give my money to my guys, it was hard for them to understand, well, how do you give us the money? I'm like, bro, it's business. It doesn't work like that. I said, let's come together. Let's put together another record. Let's go get a deal with somebody that's going to give us an honorable deal, a couple of $1 million on the table. And I don't mind breaking bread with you guys to make things right. But if you don't get no money, guess who lost all their money? But nobody never thinks about that.
Of course.
I lost all my money, but I had a job always. So I never looked at it like that. I was like, I'm just keep on working. I'm not, some of these other guys, that's all they had was their record label.
Yeah.
So, that was a terrible blow to a lot of these companies. So trying to explain to your teenage artist that there ain't no money and he's looking at Billboard magazine and he's looking at SoundScan because, what happens with these artists is everyone is in their ear. So I can be your label, but every major, everyone was coming down here trying to steal everything that we had. All the majors were trying, anything we had popping, all the majors were trying to steal it. because there was a lot of money being made at that time. So they were trying to grab whatever. So if they saw anything, sound scanning, it's the same thing now with if they go viral on TikTok and they get signed to some label and they give them a couple of dollars and then you never hear from these kids. It's the same thing. The game never really changes. It looked like it changes, just the way they do it changes a little bit.
Yeah.
But all these guys were, in my artist ears, and it's just the way the game is, and you hope that there's loyalty and they stay with you, but sometimes, they don't, unless you got like long-term contracts. And I didn't have long-term contracts. I didn't have them to know 7 years, 7 album deal and all that. I just thought it was BS. I thought, you know what? Do an album or two with me. If you feel good after we do the album or two, you resign and we do some better things. If not, though, then you go along your merry way. But with the Cam situation, he asked me for a whole bunch of money, and he wouldn't give it to me. And if you ever talk to Cam, Cam is just special, man. So Cam, Hatta, you have to listen to me. I am the label. You have to give me what I want. Cam don't get mad at me. But Cam is just, and I couldn't talk to him anymore. Like, Cam, I can't talk to you anymore. I can't give you what I don't have. I can't. So, his contract is really done. Cam is very smart. He's not recording music, so we don't really have a lot of stuff, miscellaneous tracks with Chamillionaire on it. And he started advertising Controversy Sales with Universal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, bro, you can't take, because I came up with Controversy Sales. Outkast, if you remember, they had this double album.
Yeah.
Remember that? Was that?
Stankonia Love Below.
Before they came up with it, we swear up and down, we thought they got that idea from us.
Speaker Box Love Below.
Speaker Box Love Below.
Stankonia.
Those two different albums.
Yeah.
It was, So we were doing the same because Paul and Cam, they just didn't want to do an album together.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, guys, look, what we'll do is a double album, but one is Paul's album, one is Cam's album. And so we were marketing like Controversy Sales, like they're going to drop their album at the same time. Mm-hmm. Well, we weren't going to drop 2 separate albums at the same time, which we probably should have. Now that I think about it, I just thought it was a dope idea to do the double album. And one is all Paul, one is all Cam. And then I think at that time, it was still CDs. So we're just going to.
Who did the album art with the split between them two?
Had to be Black Cat. R.I.P. Black Cat. Love Black Cat. Had to be Black Cat. But if you go back and look at the albums, we were already advertising Controversy Sales on all the other product that, because I was doing some old school. Master P would advertise all his albums, and that's really old school from back in the 70s. They used to do the same thing where they advertised all the albums that they was going to drop in the cover. I'm like, oh, that's so unique, Master P. I'm gonna do that too. So we were advertising Controversy Sales already. Mm-hmm. So Cam is over there with Universal getting ready to drop Controversy Sales. I'm like, nope. So we had no album. I took everything that they had left and I told my producers, go in there. And really in the label Universal, one of their attorneys kind of like set me off too. I wasn't going to actually do it. Mm-hmm. I was just acting like I was going to do it until this attorney called me. And the dude told me, he got my phone. And I'm a protocols person, if you know me, when it comes to work. And so don't talk to me. If you're a lawyer, talk to my lawyer. This lawyer from the record company trying to scare the little black DJ in Houston calls my phone and threatens me and tells me if I put that record out, he will sue me for everything that I have because I don't have the rights to release this record. And so I can't tell you exactly what I said to this man that does not look like me. I can't tell you exactly what I said because it's so filthy. Mm. But the point of
you can imagine.
But the gist of the conversation is, hey, I know you because I'm black. You think you don't have to follow protocol and you can frighten me. But if you ever call my phone again, this is the only part I can say, I will fly all the way to New York to your office. And then there's some other things I would do. So if you ever have a problem with me, you contact my attorney like you're supposed to, and y'all work that out. As soon as I hung up, I called my team. I want an album that's going to be out in 3 weeks. It's Controversy Sales, Paul Wall and Chamillionaire. I said, take all the original tracks, strip them. I want all fresh tracks and redo the whole album. I don't care how you do it. I want it in 3 weeks.
Damn.
You hurt the fans with that one, though, Madd Hatta. You hurt the fans, man.
I was hurt. Listen, man, I had this dynasty that I was trying to build.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody left me. So yeah, there's pain for me too, because here I am. I'm really a nice guy. So this nice guy has allowed all this. It's like having all this money and watching somebody just take it out your hand because you don't look pretty anymore. When I needed the opportunity to try to make this thing happen, I was whatever I needed to do to work with you, I was willing to do.
Yeah.
But now that things have changed a little bit, it's like this, and this happens with all artists sooner or later, especially when, in my opinion, when you're of color, everybody all of a sudden, you either taking something from me or something from, and no one understands the business of it and recoupable. That's why if you heard a lot of those records, Cam learned that word recoupable, and he started using it a lot.
Yeah, I know you're talking.
So I would have to, and so Cam, everything we spend on you is recoupable. What's recoupable? I get it back, and then what I get back, it's like a loan. Here, I'm loaning you some money to fulfill your dreams. And what I'm expecting back is X amount is the return on dollar. I'm just the bank. So when you're young, all that stuff gets convoluted. So if I was a young person, I understand what his anger is. The guy who runs your company just said, I ain't giving you no money. And I feel like I'm the star of your label. The reason why those other people are eating because they're eating off the back of my record. No, the truth of the matter is they were eating off the back of Down South. Down South was the reason why I was able to sign everybody, all the gospel groups, all the stuff that we were doing, because that came out before all that stuff. So we literally that label was still eating off of Down South, that one record. And so we never really ate off of Get Your Mind Correct and all that stuff we put out because everything folded at Southwest Wholesale. And so I understand his anger. And I think, it's nothing like a good lawsuit to get to make you see things straight. And I think that they thought that there was some foul play. And I never did anything foul to anybody in this city. And I don't care what anybody says, and they'll sit there and try to debate you, but no one to have true facts.
Yeah.
But we did go to court, and there's something in contracts, especially ours, that says you get paid for what we manufacture, sell, and get paid for. This is key. What is manufactured, what is paid for, and what we get. If it's manufactured and we never see a dime of it, I can't give you anything.
So I guess that was going to be my next question about how you felt when the city really shifted towards the major labels, because that was something as a younger music fan and in Houston. No, I didn't mind it, but I always thought the hypocrisy was hilarious. How everybody, especially in the Swisher House camp, was like, we don't need no major label. We independent. Mike Jones, major without a major deal. I don't need no label. Chamillionaire, everybody was rapping. And I was proud of the fact that our artists were independent. And you even look now, everybody's like, be independent. Everybody's like, don't sign to a major. They're going to screw you. They're going to jerk you out your money. And that was the mentality back then too. But it seems like when Still Tippin' took off, everybody jumped to a major label right then.
If somebody comes through, man, and offers you $5-10 million, it's easy to say stay independent, this, that, and the other. It's a little different when somebody's guaranteeing you a couple of $1 million in your pocket today, though.
Yeah.
And sometimes human beings, we are moved by the money. All of us, depending on what our situation is. Now, I turned down a lot of money. In our, record companies were coming to us trying to sign a label regularly. And my artists, Cam, Paul, they can all tell you, I turned down those deals. Those $1 million deals didn't look attractive to me because I can read contracts.
Yeah.
So I could look at it and like, so let me get this straight. You guys want to give me 15% as a label, And you're not really giving me $1 million. You're going to give me a quarter of it up front.
You got to pay the rest back.
Not even that. If we sell this much in this amount of time, then you'll give me the rest of this, what you call it, advance. And then if we get to the next album, you'll give me this. On top of that, 15%, you want me to split my 15% with the artist. My brain does mathematics. If I'm giving my artist 15% already, how does the company get its 15% out of that? So the numbers don't add up, my friend.
Yeah.
On top of that, you want to own the masters. So you want to give us 15%, a BS couple of $1 million up front. And it's not going to really be $1 million. I'm looking at this breakdown, right? And I don't own the masters. Nah, we can't do this deal. So I was turning down deals right and left, man. People like, oh, I can't believe that this DJ in Houston is crazy. But I understood what the paperwork looked like. And, my attorney was right there beside me. He would agree with me, like, Hatta, we can't do that. I'm like, I already know, man. I said, we just took the trip to, so the guys could see New York and get see the scenes right quick so they know what it feel like.
Yeah.
So it was one of those kind of things. But it was crazy. But and I hope I answered your question about Chamillionaire. It was artist misunderstanding. I think that happens. I think we've seen that happen again in this city with a pretty big artist in her label. Just artist misunderstanding. And you hope, when the artist is young, I just hope that they get to work out that situation, much like me and Cam, had to work out ours, and I understand, it's for me to sit there and calmly say, hey man, I'm not screwing you over.
Yeah.
And your brain is telling you this guy is taking me for everything that I got. And I don't have anything. I'm telling this guy, I need this money. And I'm telling you, no, just stick it out with me, guy, and we can work it out. But I can't give you what you asking for. And it's hard for you to understand it. So I understood his side of it, but I wasn't doing anything wrong to you either. But the record that we put out, and my apologies to you and the fans,
thank you.
It actually had nothing to do with Cam. It had more to do with that lawyer that called me that told me that I didn't have the right to put out that record.
But you didn't diss the lawyer in the album, man. You dissed Chamillionaire.
Because they had to go. If it wasn't for me, he doesn't change that album title and probably have that big million seller that he has.
The intro was like shitting on Chamillionaire.
Oh,
man.
it was, man. I couldn't
put in
believe
that CD. I'm like, what is this, man?
Oh my God, Big Cat did that. When I heard it, I just like, oh my God. I'm going to be the one to take the heat for it, but I was like, I'm okay with that. I can take the heat. I thought it was some really cool beats on there.
Yeah, I mean, there were some solid songs, man, but
cool, but it was rough, man. It was rough. I'm like, ooh, this is bad. But again, you got to remember the name of the album, man. It's called Controversy Sells. And I knew I'm sorry, man. The truth of the matter, I knew that was gonna sell. Yeah. Just on name alone. Just on name, and there was enough talk because of his mixtapes to stir up controversy.
Yeah.
And mostly it was his fault. If he probably would have said nothing, the record probably would have flopped. I didn't advertise it. I didn't do anything. I literally just ordered a lot of records and put it out.
Yep.
I didn't do anything. I didn't have to. Universal was pissed off. They were talking about it. He was talking about it. I just sat there and tried to get some of my money back that I didn't make off the first album. And really didn't get paid off of that album either because it was too late at that time with Southwest Wholesale. But it still was a good little jig in that lawyer's side. Because then you know what? They have an idea of what these Black entrepreneurs and businessmen in this city, what they're about. And what he learned in this situation is maybe I want to have a couple of more T's crossed and I's dotted before I just open my mouth and think I'm scaring some small time Black dude.
Yeah.
And so it was about respect. And that person just, to me, didn't show. If you would have heard that phone call when he was talking to me, man, he was talking to me, excuse my friend, like I was a bitch.
Damn.
And I'm like, oh, nah. I'm going to show this huge record company with billions of dollars with this little old $1,000 company can do in Houston, Texas, and you're not going to stop me and be able to do anything about it. And they didn't. We actually sold some records. I don't know if we ever got the money for it, but we sold a lot of records. So
yeah, got my money.
And it was a good record too. And again, controversy sells, man. I thought the album cover was really ugly, but it added to that grimy, split their picture.
It looked like when in a tabloid when like a famous couple break up.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
they got it split.
Yeah, it was ugly and grimy looking. I loved it, man. I love the intro too. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
Apologies to the fans out there. Man, Cam made up, man.
Yeah, of course.
He's a good dude, man. I'm really happy for him, and we all learned a lot from him. I mean, even in this city, man, with the ringtones and all that. I think his first millions was really made off of ringtones. He probably made more money outside of hip hop than rap, to be honest.
I believe it.
So that's that. Y'all got to get Cam. You got to try hard to get Cam.
I don't know if we can, man.
He doesn't like to talk to people, but you got to try, man.
No, that's the dream interview right there, man. Cam, but I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. I'm
going to try to help you out with that, man.
We appreciate it, man.
Put my phone.
Get him on now. Explain it.
While you talking to me, I'm gonna see if
there's so much we could talk about, man. We ain't even got into the morning show yet. We ain't even got into.
I'm sorry.
There's so much. No, it's all good.
My mouth, man.
Because it's all interesting to me. But
somebody else is like, man, get to the good stuff. We ain't talking about that good stuff.
Honestly, like we're a hip hop podcast, man. So all this stuff is relevant to us. So I guess my next question would be just the fact, because we asked a lot of people who are in the era, the golden age of Houston rap, and what kind of ended that or broke it apart. There was a lot of beef in the city at some point. It seemed like all my favorite rappers were beefing with each other at some point, and it was such a difference from the unity. The screwed up clique seemed from the outside. SUC seemed unified. Swisher House seemed unified. And then everybody blows up and then suddenly they all got beef. It seemed like.
I never looked at it like that, but listen, man, entertainment, there's a lot of ego in entertainment. And no one could have ever speculated on what the music industry became in this city because of DJ Screw. I think the latter days, minus, Rap A Lot, Little J and what he did, had there been no Screw, all these guys that we seen, we would not have seen. Because with what Screw did and what he did with everybody in the SUC, it kind of spawned what Watts did on the north side with his crew. And I don't know and I know he was probably, not probably, but he was doing mixtapes before, but do all these artists blow up on this level if it's not this little creation of this city that happened? And I just think, I don't remember a lot of the beats, and maybe this because my brain doesn't want to. I do remember some of them now. I just think it's ego. Somebody wants to feel like they're the biggest one of all of them. And this city never had so many superstars outside of sports at one time. It was, Beyonce, Kelly, Destiny's Child, LaToya, all the ladies from that group. But outside of that, no one's really ever seen that magnitude of so many superstars, that seem like regular people that you really went to school with.
Yeah.
And to me, I just think that, just male bravado, they're all young.
Yeah.
Young kids, man. And, mixing young and money and I run the city. You just mix that up, and sometimes it can be a cocktail for beef. But a lot of those guys, they worked out their beefs because they grew to be these men, and some of these beefs that they had, they knew weren't, much whatever to them. So they were able to work it out. But I just think that came with this city had never had that. And, I think all cities probably get that. New York complains a lot these days because, ATL took everything from everybody. It seems like, or everybody has their chance. ATL's been, putting out some quality stars over the last few years. I'm sure they have problems and beefs as well that we might not even know about. We have a tendency to look at other places like, look at what they're doing, man. They're getting along and
they stick together. How come we can't stick together?
And you just hear people say that kind of stuff, but you don't know what's going on. Those same people come to this scene like, man, if we could just stick together like y'all did. It's just one of those kind of things. But I think for our guys, just young guys, male bravado, and they've worked out those kinks, and now they're all better young. I mean, better older men. So
yeah, it's crazy because when I moved to Houston 6 years ago, I came from Cleveland, and when I was looking around, I'm like, damn, this ain't like everybody kind of sticking together from my point of view.
Right, exactly. That's
because
what I mean.
I'm like, damn,
but remember, he came at a different time, so he's seen it from a different perspective.
Yeah. So I'm like, damn, I see this Houston legend, just so happened to walk in the lobby, you see another Houston legend, and they dapping each other. I'm like, damn, that's
cool.
Actually cool, because we never really had that in Cleveland like that. We got Bone Thugs and Harmony, but they're never really in Cleveland. They pretty much stay in LA.
Don't y'all
to be
got
honest.
what's with my man Talib Kweli? What's the other kid? I can't think of his name right now.
I'm most deaf.
High Tech or somebody like that.
High Tech.
Oh God, I can't think of the brother's name, but I think he does stuff. If it comes to me, I'll mention it.
Yeah, but it's not a lot of legends just walking around in the city like that.
It is cool, man. It's really, really cool. My biggest question is, man, and I think it's the downfall of Southwest Wholesale, our distributor. It seemed like everything. You're right. It started to shut down here. A lot of the national labels came in and stole everybody. Was trying to steal everybody from the city, and things never came back around. So that's the one sad part to me. I think, and I still think right now there's a lot of talent in the city, particularly in R&B. I think R&B here never got the love that it deserved. There was so many. If you go back and look, man, there's so many incredible singers. Right now, we run it in gospel.
Yeah,
we run it. We got Brian, Sicardi. Oh man, we're really doing some things with gospel.
Right, I mean, R&B period. You got Toby Grammy nominated now, so
you call Toby rap? I mean, Toby R&B. Toby's rap.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
You might want to call him alternative rap. I don't know. I think and that's what I like about what's going on too. It's so different. I love Toby just because he's different, unapologetically different, man. And he went his own route. Years before Nwigwe blew up, I would have thought that wouldn't be able to work. He, with his family, ain't really cursing or nothing like that. Really skillful with his rhymes, everything that he's doing visually. And I actually think it's because of all those things why he works as well.
Yeah.
His visuals, this inclusion of family. In fact, I went to his one show that he had here that he sold out, and there was so many white people in there. And he kind of brings a family affair to what he's doing. And I think other people outside of people that look like me and you, us, they enjoy that. So it's just kind of cool to watch what he's doing. But again, I'm kind of like the big uncle. I just watch from afar now, but I'm really proud of what all these guys and ladies are doing. But I do believe, to me, that R&B got an unfair shake in this city, and it could have been better.
So what do you think? I'm going back to the early 2000s when Houston was on fire, pretty much. What do you think could have been done to keep that going? Because for me, from my point of view, being up in Cleveland, it seemed like the run was kind of short, or shorter than it should.
I feel like that too. I like I said, and I think for me, it's around the time that the distributor went bankrupt and failed. To me, is almost where you can see that hip hop in the city, just because we weren't breeding new talent and we were only embracing the talent that we had, because they were so big and they were so loved in this city. I mean, when this city loves the artist, they just love them. So your Slims and your Kikis and your Screw, they were so hard embraced. There was almost no way for anyone else to even come out the seams. You know what I'm saying? And partially that I think it could have just been on the city per se. I don't know. But to me, the point is, when that distributor was gone, it seemed to me that the music landscape in the city changed, because we had a place that was really super, super supportive in getting the music out there to all these different places. And once that stopped, where do you go with your record label or your rap? Robert Gilliman would come in there. I mean, when I first had my first little whack record called All About Me, I walked in there And he said, Hatter, I need 2,000 CDs and 1,000 cassettes. And I walked out with $15,000 to $20,000. He hadn't heard a track.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't just me. It was a lot of people being funded like this. Robert was giving a lot of dough away. Imagine the ESGs and all those people at that time. So when you don't have somebody that's able to kind of pump money into you like a bank, what happens, man? And it takes a little bit of money to make this stuff work. It takes a little bit of money. So to me, the point is Southwest Wholesale going under. For me, it's just my opinion. Other people might say because the radio wasn't supporting it or this, that, and the other. I'm just not a believer in that. I'm a big believer in if the streets support it and the music is out there, the radio plays it. And I'm always feel that way. Although now I think it's totally different. You don't need radio at all, but that's a whole nother story. I don't want to get off track.
Do you think you get unfairly blamed for like the so-called fall off of Houston?
Sure, probably. I'm sure it was Hatter's fault. And which is funny because what this does? It puts you in this place where they really give you way more credit than you really, really deserve. Like, yeah, they just give you way more credit than you did. Like, they put you on this pedestal. They won't call it that they shoot at, or this power that they have given you, this perceived power that they think you also have as well. And I always thought that was pretty interesting. I still do to this day, because again, this goes back to the conversation. I was just trying to be a DJ that was trying to make people smile going to work. And the music part of it was secondary because I didn't play the music. Yes, part of your job is to go out there and find talent and all that kind of stuff. But really, that's the program director and the music director. And I was never those at the box. Magic 102, which a lot of people don't know. I was, APD over there. But that was, the adult stuff.
Yeah.
But with, anything that happened at the box during those days, I wasn't. So I was an innocent bystander learning about this stuff, just as, just like you were learning about it. You know what I'm saying? But when things took off or there was really a heat in the streets with it, just like me signing Paul and Cam. Why do you sign them? Well, because they got the hottest names in the street. And it worked like that with radio as well. So it's just weird. But you hey man, you got to take the bad with the good. And it's just part of it, man. You don't want to, like I said before, you want everybody to love you. But sometimes, hey man, there was a rapper whose son blamed me that his father didn't blow up. And I saw it because people love to show you. Look what this person put Hatter. Like, I really don't feel like seeing that, but okay. Like, all the rappers always told on each other too. Hatter, such and such said this. Okay. So I know everybody where the dead bodies are and all that stuff, but I never really worried about it. But you get used to it. The bottom line, you get used to it and you take it, and as many blessings as you receive, and as much, I did remember seeing glimpses of the love, although I always was making records about say what you want to say and can you, show me some love and give me some love and all that stuff. But it's just all a part of it. And when you look like you the guy at the top of the mountain, people throw sharp knives at you.
You were the face.
Yeah.
You're the face.
So you take the hits, and as long as nobody touches your physical, you got to deal with it, man. So yeah, I probably know I get some of the blame for that, but you won't get any credit for anybody that you helped, even some of the people that you helped. And the funny thing about music, and I'll just leave on that, I'll end on that note. When you're doing things for somebody, you're the greatest guy in the world.
Oh, of course.
And the first time that you can't do something for somebody, and this is life, you're the worst person. This could be a family member, and they want to borrow money, and every time they come to you, you let them borrow some money, and then the one time they come to you, you're like, no, man, I ain't got $500 to give you, bro. Oh man, all of a sudden you the worst.
You're the bad guy.
Yeah, I hate you. And this guy this family member won't talk to you anymore because you didn't give him $500. But what about all the other times you gave him money? Nobody remembers that. But nobody gives you a pat on the back for that. And you can't expect it. And what I got to the point of, man, as long as my mama loved me and my kids love me, if you got a gal, your gal love you. You can't. And I was blessed with a career, so the ratings were coming. So I'm like, there got to be something I'm doing right, or somebody's lying to me somewhere. So, but yeah, you take the hits and you just learn to live with it, man. It hurts though. I won't lie. It hurts you. It bothers you. So you just try to get on with it.
I mean, that's really all you can do. It's like I said earlier, how the negative always stick with you longer than the positive.
It does.
So
that was a part of, like, when I quit, man, that was a part of it too, because you never see yourself as a star or in the limelight. But guys, you're doing a podcast. People are looking at you. They admire you. Somebody looking at you. That was a dumb question. Whatever their thing is. Somebody will find, oh man, he has something on his eyebrow. Anything. And they'll find him. You don't. But I'm just saying they'll find something. And it's just a part of it, man. You're a part of entertainment. So you become people's entertainment. Yeah. So like I said, they'll talk about you in the barbershop when they having conversation they talk about Drake and they talk about Beyonce. And here's the flip side of it. You're lucky they're talking about you.
Yeah.
So even if it's in hatred, you've conjured up enough venom in this person or persons for them to have this whole dialogue about you. And when you really get down to it, that dialogue that they're having about you, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But at that moment in time, they think it does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't. It's not going to change the world. It doesn't make it a bit better. It's just really gossip. Why do you hate this guy? Man, he ain't playing my music. Can he play your music? Is your music good? Is it available? Have you ever talked to those people? And when you start breaking all that stuff down, you start finding out, like, oh, this guy or gal hadn't even taken the necessary steps. Or they talk to you one time and they think that they fire. And it's your responsibility. This is the bad thing too. It's your responsibility to make everything happen for that person.
Oh, yeah.
And they think it's all in your hand to make their dreams come true. That's a lot of unfair, undue pressure to put on me to make your dream come true. Yeah. I'm living my dream. I wanted to be a DJ. This is what I wanted to do with my life. I went to school for it. I put myself through school to do it. I'm doing it. I'm living my dream. You're mad at me because you think I'm supposed to be playing your song. And somebody, like, a lot of times, oh, he hating on me. Bro, I don't know you. What would be my purpose in hating you? What growth do I get from it? I'm over here worrying about this sick parent. Oh, this over here. Literally, I'm coming to my job, and my only thing at that job was I wanted people, because I remembered when I was driving to one of my 7 jobs in college, listening to the DJ that worked at night, Wild Child Robbins, and he was screaming and yelling on the radio. He sounded so happy. And I'm going to this, it was a RPS. It was like a UPS.
Yeah.
I hated roadway pack. And then I worked at UPS too. UPS is fine. But you're going to these jobs and you're miserable and you're trying to be somebody in life and you don't think you're going to ever get there. And I wanted to feel the way that this DJ was making me feel when he was playing this new song, saying some wild and crazy stuff with people on the air. So I said, if I could just make somebody feel better about themselves or their situation, or make them forget about this lousy, shitty job for a little while, I've done my job. And if in there was a benefit that some guy was able to get his song played or some gal was able to get her song played and it helped them achieve their dreams, bonus. So excuse me. It was what it was. You take the bad with the good with the bad, and you try to put out more good than the bad stuff.
I mean, that's really all you can do, man.
That's all you can do.
That's really all you can do ultimately at the end of it.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm
man.
Still sorry about the
controversy. Yeah, it's all right. That's what.
But it's a classic album, son. Classic.
Like what? $9.99 on Tuesday, gone down the drain. But okay, it's all right. It's all right. I'm over it. So, I mean, we could talk to you all day, man. Honestly,
let's jump into the radio stuff, man. Yeah. You got a whole nother career, man, outside of the music. So, how did you get it? How did you get into radio?
You're from North Carolina, right?
I am from North Carolina.
Okay.
Vietnam. J. Cole, go. From right down the street. My little kid, adopted 2 little girls, but she was a huge J. Cole fan back in the days. And she's like, I want to go by J. Cole's house. So I went and took pictures in front of J. Cole's house. But anyway, from North Carolina, went to North Carolina A&T, majored in broadcasting. They used to call it that. Somebody cleaning something. And just at first I was really interested in music. I'm a music person, DJ, sang, was a producer, started a record label when I was in college. It was a jazz record label called Cool Jazz Recordings. Had a sign. I don't know how to this day how I signed this older woman to be on my label, but she sang blues and jazz named Melva Houston, R.I.P. to her, and did this live recording. But I was just always into music, and I just off of a whim went to the college radio station, because when I was growing up, the radio station would be playing some of these miscellaneous songs, and like everybody, why they playing this? When I was growing up, and you won't know this, neither one of you. When I was growing up, they didn't play rap on the radio. They would play rap instrumentals though on the radio, because the beats were always dope, but not the rap version. And I just wanted to have a better understanding why. Just play the rap song. You know, why y'all playing this song, but you're not playing this song? This is the song that's hot in my neighborhood that everybody's jamming to, but the radio station, they play it. So I wanted to understand the politics behind that, and went to the college radio station. And I don't know, the lady just took a liking to me, and I always wore these crazy hats. And she said, you should call yourself the Mad Hatter. And from there, you know, the career started, man. Now that I look back, it was kind of quick, but as you're going through it as a kid, it's like forever and a day. And got lucky to get to Houston because of another DJ named Rick Party. He told me I should send a tape to the general manager that was at Magic 102 at the time, Ernest Jackson, R.I.P. to him, good brother. And they heard my tape and gave me a shot. And thought I would be in radio for about 2 years and go be a teacher. But they kept giving me more and more money. And who was I to say no?
Yeah.
So that's my hopefully short story on becoming a radio broadcaster, much like you gentlemen. Yeah.
So how'd you link up with J-Mac in them, and how'd you actually start the Madd Hatta morning show in particular?
Gotcha.
Like, did that was that your idea? Did somebody say, hey, you should do a morning? Like, how did that come about?
I think when you're jocks, I think at our heart we're jocks, DJs. The dream originally for all of us is, you know, when you're younger, you want to do nights, get a little older, you want to do afternoons, and then you want to graduate into Cam actually hit me. If you just tuned in, they were talking about Chamillionaire earlier.
Yes.
And so as a joke, I hit him. Oh, I hit him on his second number. He don't know I got this number too.
Like, who is this?
I ain't gonna even say nothing. I'm gonna let him. What was the question? I'm sorry.
How the Madd Hatta morning show come to be?
Met J-Mac at TSU. He was a TSU student, and I used to do these live broadcasts on Friday night. I don't know why I did it. Just because I didn't want to be cooped up in the studio. So they were crazy enough to let me. I'm live on the radio. We'd be in a van driving down the street, stuff that's really dangerous that we should not. Oh, we should not. Half the stuff.
It'll let you do a lot of shit, man.
I got away with a lot, man. I was really a spoiled child my entire radio career. But my program directors, they always trusted me. They always felt like, Hatta won't go too far. Every once in a while, I would go far. And they were like, Hatta, I'm like, hey, man. But they trusted me to do all kind of stuff. So every Friday I used to broadcast the show live and go in different neighborhoods and stuff like that. And went to TSU one night, was on campus, and met this kid named J-Mac, James at the time. Sorry, Mac. And he just said he was interested in radio. And I was like, yeah, right. Whatever, kid. And I just said, hey, call me at the radio station and something pops, I'll let you know. And I probably was just running my mouth. I don't really know what I can't really say, but he didn't immediately get to the radio station. And J-Mac probably called me for about a year. Every at least once a week, he called me. Hey man, is anything happening? Hey man, is anything happening? I think I just got tired. Like, hey man, come to the radio station today. And he came to the radio station, and I don't know what happened. The guy would never leave. And so somehow he got under my skin and was around for all these years. It was the best get under somebody's skin story of all times. And now there he is leading the morning show at the box. I'm very proud of him. Because he's like, what I'm going to do with you go? You're going to keep on moving, baby. You ain't me. You. And he's doing really, really well. So I'm really happy for him. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of everything those guys are doing. So I told them, you do it until the wheels fall off, brother. You don't have to do what I do. Don't do what I do. I did what I did because that's what I wanted to do. You run your race. So he's running his race and he's having a good time doing it. So that's how I met him. Mac never left. Originally, it was a young lady by the name of Nikki T. That was also with me at nights when I was on Magic originally, when it was called 102 Jams. So it was Hatter, Nikki, and Jay originally. For those that remember that, when we did the roll call, we had started it there. Yeah. I think I got mad at Nikki and J Mac, fired both of them. Nikki would pass away, but we were still good before her passing. J Mac somehow got back on the radio with me. I started doing afternoons at the box when they, these companies come in and buy stations. I forgot the name of the company that owned Magic 102 at the time, but what is now iHeart used to be Clear Channel. They came in and bought the station. And they were trying to figure out how to merge the staff. So their idea was to put me in afternoons. I think it was Kid Nice doing nights, and they were going to do some other things. Did that for a while. And then something happened with the morning show. I don't remember who the morning show was, and I'm sorry to those folks that were doing it because I went through so many different morning shows. Smoking in the Bandit was Magic. God, I don't remember everybody. I can't remember the Robin Breeden. I think when I first got to the box, she was still there. I think Robin left and they wanted to go in a new direction. They wanted me, after she left, they wanted me to do the morning show then. And I was like, if y'all ain't giving me, morning show.
Of course.
So they tried to finagle me into doing it. Oh, I had to just sit in for a couple of weeks. Then I sat in for like 2 weeks. And so I think they were waiting to see what was going to happen or if I would not remember to ask about money. And I'm like, hey, guys, my contract says that I specifically work between these times. So on Monday, I'm going back to 2 to 6. Unless you say something different about this money. And nobody never really said anything. So for a little while, I went back and that's when Scorpio and Jimbo and all those guys got together and did the morning show for a couple of years. And did a few years later, I think Scorpio wanted to pull himself off the air. And they came back to me again, like, Hatter, do the morning show. I'm like, well, we got to change some numbers. and they did. And told me to do whatever I wanted to do. Always liked Jim. I thought he was funny. And I thought that he would make me corny. I think sometimes when you grow up urban like us, we have a tendency to be way too cool for the room. And I purposely wanted somebody that would make the room a little uncool. And it's okay to have these different
that balance.
Yeah, there you go. I like that word, balance. Yeah. So I knew Jimbo, his comedy was different from mine. And he's also white. But I thought that there was something he could bring to the table because he had been at the station since the inception of the box. He worked with all the morning shows as the producer from the inception of it. So he understood the way a morning show should work. So I thought it would be good. Originally, it was also Shelley Wade. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that.
But Shelley Wade,
she had her own theme song. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. That's when she was doing midday.
Yeah.
So we took her off of that. And she came. Not I took her off, but she said that she would come to the morning show and work with us. And then she got some incredible offers to go to New York and LA. And I'm like, holla back, Sean.
Yep.
You got to do it. LA and New York ain't calling you every day. So you got to do what you got to do. So I forgot who we got after that as a co-host for the show.
So how many years
P2.
How many years were you running the show itself?
It was 20 years. We were coming up on 20. 20 would have been 20 years if I'm not mistaken.
Damn.
Right? It would have been 20 years. It would have been 20 years.
So you started the show in 2000.
Yeah.
So it would have been 2000. Damn.
Jimbo remembers the date on everything. I also love him for that too. Because Jimbo would remember these odd things that average human beings don't remember. And then he knew a lot about music. I think that's what bonded us. He knew so much about music. And so he had the pop songs on lock. I had the urban songs on lock. So I think we had like this little weird connection because of music. We both love music. And Jimbo still plays music. Now I see him out there with his brother. They be going to the bars doing their thing. But I had a good crew. After P2 was, I think it was Natay. Shout out Natay. years with her. And we got Natay, actually. We did a thing where we were looking for a co-host. And we did it at some mall out there in Katy Mills Mall.
Yeah.
Where we found Natay. I was like, man, okay, I think she would be really, really cool to have on the show. And then after Natay left, for a while, it was a boys club up there. And the management, the suits hated that.
Mm-hmm.
A morning show must have a female on it. I was like, bro, we just trying to do good mornings here. We'll just put a whole bunch of ladies on the air. But I chose JQ. I said, he'll be the lady for us. they let it roll for a while. We had a good time, man. It was a men's locker room. But we were having a great time in there. And then finally, the show rounded out with Young Jazz. And Young Jazz was perfect for us. We knew her. She had like worked in the station. And Jazz kind of, cute. She could hang with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have people who, Jazz would say some stuff that was filthier than guys.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes I have to go like, hold on, Jazz. You're late.
She don't even look like that type. That's the funny part about it.
Oh man, Jazz.
She look all cute and innocent.
Oh man, she is cute. But she was perfect and her work ethic was outstanding, man. She was just perfect for us, with JQ. And really, I had a morning show that had way too many people. It was great, though. They let me have all these people. JQ, Rob G was mixing, J Mac, of course, Jimbo. Cooper was also on the air. He's the producer, but Cooper was also on it. And I made everybody, I didn't want a producer who just sat there and produced. I wanted people to know that, hey, I got this other person that is a contributor to this show. So he should be a part of this too. So we were all a part of it. It was a lot of fun, man. I had a great crew. It was a good run. We had an incredible run until I got mad at the end and hurt and was sad all the time. Because I think I was making those guys miserable because I would be so terrible. I would come in there and just complain. I was so upset and I was just unhappy. The last 2 years, I was very unhappy.
So what happened at the end? What was the
I was just unhappy, man. And then radio stations go through all these changes. Hey, Hatta, we want you to do this and we want you to do that, and we think you should do this, and again, you have to take it. I'm a 20-year-old kid, 21-year-old kid who his whole career, they just let me do whatever I wanted to do. You get used to that. So now here you are, you're a grown ass man, like, oh, we think you should do this. Ask you what you think I should be doing. Nobody asks me what they think. I just tell you that's what I want to do, and then we just go with it and we figure out a way to make it work. And this was the first time I think in my career, like, oh, we think you should do this though. They were kind of stern on him, like, I'll be right back. And I never came back. And I felt bad about now when I look back, I think the listeners felt the people who love you, they felt. Because I would see it on Instagram sometimes. Oh, so y'all ain't going to say nothing? And I wouldn't respond to nobody. I mean, literally, I wasn't picking up the phone, talking to anybody. So I think people were alienated. Even people who knew me, they were alienated. I was just going to the gym, going home, going to the gym, going home. And, I think when people felt like they've invested so much into you, at least say, bye, I'm out of here. I want to do something different.
You have a farewell show.
Yeah. And I think they wanted that. And they probably deserved it. And so I'm probably the bad guy in that one. I won't put that one on the company. That's probably me. They made some efforts to try to do some things. And at that point, I was just too far gone.
Yeah.
I was too far gone.
I mean,
but I miss my guys, man. We had a lot of fun.
Usually when your heart's not in it, your audience will begin to be able to tell. So usually,
we're good at faking it though.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Because here's what happens. Sometimes even with topics, everybody had to choose some stuff, bring some stuff to the table. So sometimes somebody would take a stance against you just to take that stance against you.
Yeah, devil's advocate.
Yeah, because it's a show. And everyone, after a while, they understand, you're kind of like when you're doing the morning show and you're the lead, it's kind of like you're the puppet master. And you know what to do to poke at this person, what pokes at this person, what pokes at this person. And you put up enough of a wall where they can't poke at you. And so you just learn how to do that. And sometimes it would be like you take that position and there was no practice of nothing, though everybody was in there because they were so smart. And, just I work with a group of very smart people. So they could take those different positions and take the hits that went with it. So it sounded like we might be in a true argument on the air. We are not. Yeah. We're laughing because I'm seeing how hard I can go to break you. You know what I'm saying? So it made the show fun. And then Jimbo come in there with his guitar and do some other kind of stuff. What we tried to do is what I call a full service show. The full service show is not, we just don't get there and gossip about Chris Brown. Will we? Yeah, you got to talk about him. But I also wanted to really, truly entertain you in between the records. So, yeah, we're going to talk about whoever did whatever they did, but we're going to do some old school bits, some corny stuff. And I didn't mind if somebody said that we were corny. You got it. We wanted to be, because we didn't have to be the cool DJs on the block.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be that. I wouldn't try to prove to you how black I was. You can see I'm black and blacker than most. So I don't have to prove to you that I'm black. And I'm not trying to. I talk the way I talk in the whole nine. And I never tried to be anything that I wasn't. And if somebody thought that was on them. But, the show was what the show was. And some people might have had a problem with it because I still wanted some of that the ways radio used to entertain. I still think, to me now, radio does not entertain like that. That's why podcasts work, because we now have entertaining people who can have entertaining conversations. But on the radio, you just got some guy who just blah, 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 and plays a record that I can listen to on Tidal or Spotify or Apple, and I don't really need to hear your job. So I think to some degree they've killed the disc jockey that had talent to do all these different things. And let's discuss what's going on. And another thing that was very important to me too was doing news. They had tried to do research to tell me not to do news because your audience.
Oh, wow. They don't care about the news. Damn.
So purposely, I would do the news every hour. So it may only be a minute or 2 minutes. But if you're listening to this show, because the way I felt, this person may only hear this because they want the entertainment.
Yeah.
But I might have them and they hear some news and they be like, what happened in the world today? I didn't know that happened. So I thought that was very important. Now, those were the things that I definitely was a fighter with. Like, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that. And again, but let me be clear. No one really managed me in my career. I probably should have been on a couple occasions, but everyone kind of like, just let Hatter do what he does. And they did, man. I was really lucky. But my crew, we definitely worked hard and tried to do a very balanced show. At the end, it really it was a working machine. In the end, it really, really was a working machine. So I do miss. I miss the camaraderie of those people. I think it's like a former football player. A lot of times what they really miss is the camaraderie of the team. And if you've ever played sports, you most certainly understand that. So I think that's what I miss the most. And, nice fat paychecks are great too.
Of course.
But definitely miss the people, man, because you know what? For most of my career, those people, they really were the center of my happiness. Not the corporation. Didn't really care that much. That sounds bad to say. It was about the people that you worked with. The corporation stood for the corporation, but me and the people that I worked with, we really had a great time, man. We had a really great time.
So if they were to call you back today or tomorrow or this week to say, hey, would you be open to coming back?
They wouldn't do that because they would be afraid that I would ask for a ton of cash.
Now, the real question is, would you ask for a ton of cash?
No, would you go back, period?
Those are both two good questions. Wow.
You've never thought of this. If you would ever, like, let's not even...
I don't see in 2022 going into 2023, to be honest with you, when I left, I think it was a different time in society.
Yeah.
I think it was a different time for radio. Yeah. I feel, and here's a guy who's still I'm a content director for the vibe at KTSU with the little digital / over the air station at night deal that I do over there. I think this game has changed in just these 3 years, because J Mac told me it was 3 years today. The game has changed so much.
3 years since when? Since you left?
Yeah.
Wow.
This 3 years
3 year
today?
anniversary.
Today?
Three years, December. When did I go on vacation? Didn't return.
Well,
Rob G. If I call Rob G,
it's
Rob
close
G,
to December.
Rob G would tell me exactly what day. He remembers the day. He said, "Hey, I'm going on vacation." He said, "Then something you never came." But yeah, it's almost 3 years now.
Wow.
And J Mac reminded me. I don't know. I had such a good time. I don't know.
But you would take a meeting if they say, "Hey, let's just talk about it."
I think with the podcast thing now, you know what? I have a son now, and I waited to get to the end of my career.
Hey, I respect that, man. I'm on that trajectory too. So,
and don't knock that, man.
Yeah, I'm not.
And that's what I want to really have a podcast about too, man. Is talking about these older fathers, and it's different. If Madd Hatta was 20 something or even 30 something with a kid, and I was, man, I had my girls that I adopted, and they came out to be halfway decent human beings, and I love them to death. But you know, having my own son at this point in life is really different, because of the time and care. And I don't want to say I didn't care for my girls like that, but it's kind of like you were a weekend dad, so to speak. I'm around the clock, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I would have been a pretty decent dad. And I have to ask my girls if they thought I was a good dad. They could say, "Nah, dude, you suck like a mofo." I don't, you know, my opinion is I did the best that I could for him, but I just feel a little different with this kid. And maybe because he came exactly, after this career that I've had. And so I look at him in a totally different way. He won't know I don't think he'll know who the Madd Hatter is. He's just going to know this dude that seems to be at home when he gets home and stuff like that. So I have to create, and it's funny, it's like being a former football player. And I'm not taking anything away from anybody that plays sports, because what you guys do and ladies do is incredible. But you've done this one thing all your life. And that's all you really know how to do. You don't really know. You never took the time to learn how to do anything else.
Yeah.
So my son gets to meet a different person. He gets to meet Ben. He won't really connect with Madd Hatter. My girls, they were raised with Madd Hatter. When they went places and we were eating, somebody would interrupt them or do disrespectful stuff, or, "Oh my God, that's Hatter," and take a picture. And my kid is like, "Yo," so, or if there's drama in the streets because you going toe to toe with some rapper and nobody understands, you got to protect your kid and something. My son's not going to get none of that stuff. So it's just kind of different. So long way to answer your question, I don't know. You never want to say no to money.
Yeah.
But you don't want to do it. I've learned, because I saved for so long. I honestly, when I walked away, I really didn't have a plan, but I own a couple of homes and things like that. But I really didn't have a plan in place. Like, what you gonna do if that paycheck ain't coming in no more, big fella? And I didn't really plan for that, but was surviving pretty well. So I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I don't know. I would like to think that, one, I would love to have the conversation. I would like to think that there's something I can do. I don't know if I would want to do it full time. Like a podcast deal, I could probably do that. Why?
Yeah.
You can do a podcast once, twice a week, shoot. Somebody else could do the editing and all that good stuff. And I can just go be a dad. Every day working 5 to 9 or 10 or 6 to 10. I'm not really sure. And I just feel like the environment, is different. A lot of these big companies scaling down a lot of DJs that they think they're listening to, they think they're at the station, they're at the house, working. I'd like that. Now, if they told me, okay, Hatter, you could come back and do it from the crib, I'd probably be like, well, that's something we need to talk about. And I probably don't need as much as long as I'm broadcasting from the home and I can do a couple of things that y'all need me to do sometimes. But I really don't know. Like I said, I would like to think that I would want to do it with my crew, but man, being at TSU, man, you see these young kids coming in and some of them you have a really good rapport with. I'm like, man, every time, I talk to these kids, I can still, because for so many years you were, I hate to say the puppet master, but you know how to pull stuff out of kids or out of people. And that's what we do, as interviewers and stuff like that. And so some of these kids, man, I was like doing some stuff with like interviewing or talking to them just to see what it would feel like if I was still doing a morning show. Some of these kids, I'm like, I could actually do a show with this kid, with my years of wisdom and their years of trying to get it. It could still be an interesting show, I think. So to answer your question, it took me like 20 minutes to get to, I still don't know. I like to say that I would like to do it.
It would depend on the circumstance, basically.
Yeah, I like that. It depends on the circumstances. But I love the idea of podcasts, going to a radio station, working every day. I just feel like I'm too old for that, man.
Yeah, I feel you. See, I can tell you still got that fire.
Mm-hmm.
No, like this is cool. I like this,
but it's a better way. I feel
bad for you guys because I'm like just running my mouth, so I'm not thinking about time. And so you guys got to figure out how can we edit that part?
No,
but
here's the thing.
So you don't. There's still a certain amount of stress that goes when it's yours. Mm-hmm. There's a certain amount of stress to do what you're doing, and people don't realize that. They think it's just two guys up there running their freaking mouth. But in your head, there's sometimes when I'm talking and you're already figuring out, okay, how do I transition from this shit he's talking about? Because this ain't getting me where I want to be. No, for real. I mean, but you're broadcasting, so I know how your mind is working. And when I can see your mind working, I'm like, oh, let me turn this page for them so they can go to where they're trying to go.
But that's also something that we have to train out of ourselves too, because that's kind of an old school mentality, honestly. Because some of the biggest podcast in the world is Joe Rogan's show. Joe Rogan's podcast is like 3 hours long. And usually it's about like just the most random topics you can imagine with some comedian, and they're talking about everything, So it's not like, kids these days will watch another guy play video games all day.
This is true. That's why I told you it's a different time.
It is. Man. So we have to try to adapt. I don't think
but you can't put your finger on the pulse of that.
Yeah, it's tough.
If somebody would tell you that this guy Rogan, who's a fighter or all the stuff that he's done, could have this successful podcast, you wouldn't believe it. But he's put his time in.
Yeah,
he's worked it. He deserves it, in my opinion. I don't know that much about his podcast. I don't watch it. I'm a Joe Budden kind of.
Yeah, me too. Of course,
earn your leisure type kind of stuff. Really like Joe Budden just because Joe would talk shit.
Yeah,
and not talk shit in a hurtful way. It's just like, this is my opinion. Deal with it or not. I kind of like that. Even when it was controversial with the guys he had on his show, he's still one of the most popular ones out there.
Entertaining, man.
Yeah. So, I hope I answer your question. What's your, other than your podcast, which is obviously awesome. It's been on since 2017. Do you have a favorite? Do y'all have a favorite like that you watch and you're motivated by, or you just like, I like the way they kind of like doing their thing?
I mean, as far as the big ones, of course, there's no podcast I listen to every single week religiously. Honestly, like I'll tune in and out, but I like Drink Champs, especially Drink Champs is great, especially when they have like these stories you've never heard before. Yeah, the Cameron episode was great. Like all these, I love that. You know what I hate
about that though? These guys have a tendency to share because they feel like those guys, them. So they're on guard. If you have that same rapper in here, he's on guard.
Yeah, it wouldn't go the same.
Something to go viral with. So he's like this with you. Yeah, but they don't see that with Nori. They like, oh, Nori's one of us. So they'll sit there and don't even know they giving up. They like putting it all out there.
It's tactical. That's why they drink. I think too. I think they're trying to loosen the lips. Yeah,
but I don't even think if maybe they would do that to get the endorsement too. I don't know. But I think even if Nori didn't do it that way, he still
Oh
some
yeah,
of the
of
gems
course.
you get, he'll still get. He knows these guys. He has a relationship with them. Even when he had like a Patti LaBelle on there or a Tank on there, I enjoyed those episodes really because it's not an oxymoron, but the difference of culture.
Yeah.
I actually like that. I got this hardcore rapper talking to Patti LaBelle. This should be fun. And they're still being themselves, and Patti LaBelle is being herself, or Tank is being himself. It's just interesting dynamic that they have on there. You got a favorite?
Yeah, I like Drink Champs for the simple fact how the setup look. Because
they do have a nice
I'm a
set.
big fan of the
They
way
do have a nice
the way
set.
it look. And I just like the table, the round table with the drinks and all the little cool little stuff around.
It's hard to have a cool set, my friend.
It is very hard.
They probably have the coolest set of everybody and the coolest graphics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else, some of them just got some really cool shows. But I like, what's the kids from 95 South? No.
Oh yeah, I think
Is it
95
not-
South.
95?
Yeah. With the
I
DC
like
Young
those
Fly.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I like because I like DC Young Fly.
Yeah.
I just think he's funny off the cuff.
Yeah.
And people funny off the cuff are so dangerous because they could just be sitting here right now and rank on you from your top of your head to your toes, and you're like,
Yeah.
But I like that kid. But there's a lot of good podcasts out there, actually. And then there's the terrible ones as well.
Yeah. Locally, I like the Scarface and Willie D podcast.
I like Donnie.
Donnie, of course, as well.
Donnie seems, and not because I was on it, and thank you, Donnie. But I thought it was an honor.
No,
like,
good
I
interview.
think it's an honor because you guys asked me to be on. I'm like, what? Why do you think I have anything relevant to say? I don't. But I like that he has a Houston historical angle.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to keep that history alive and documented. I really, really like that. I know he's working on the 3-2 documentary, which probably looked really, really great. But I like what he's doing there.
Yeah, shout out to Johnny.
Yeah,
Johnny Houston. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's doing some hot stuff.
Yeah, I like the simple fact that he get a lot of people that I never even heard of. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he knows the history.
Yeah, so
he grew up, so he knows the history. So you'd be like, oh, he talking to him. Yeah. Nice one. People forgot about that one right there. They forgot about him. He is a part of this.
I tell people all the time, if you want to know the history of Houston,
Donnie's gonna
go to Donnie Houston.
And he's setting himself up to be that guy. He's setting himself up to be the historian. And I think he wants to branch out. Like I seen him, he did Orange Juice Jones, I'm old school.
Yeah.
And I respected that. So he's letting people know, I can do this other stuff. But I definitely want to be a Houston historian podcast. And I like that too. But don't put me in this box. That's all I can do. I'm going to talk to a little bit of everybody's political people and whatnot. So I like that, man.
Yeah.
And y'all guys, y'all have done everybody too. You've done hip hop. I guess you try to stay hip hop, but sometimes it's hard because sometimes it's hard though.
Honestly, we talk about everything.
200 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, we've had sports, we've had athletes, Aaron Foster on. We've had other Texans players. He was great, of course.
That was probably one of our biggest interviews.
Oh, definitely.
Because it actually went viral. Because this
Foster's.
Foster's big. So it went viral because
was it while he was still playing or after?
No, this was after. This was in 2020.
Oh, wow.
Early 2021. I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, this was
It was right. It was right after Deshaun Watson said he wanted to be traded.
Yeah.
So
this was. Did he talk about that?
He did.
Yeah,
that's how it went viral. It was on the news.
This was
of that.
This was pre. This was pre allegations for him.
Oh wow.
So he was pretty much saying Texas need to bend to his will, and give him what he wants, see what he wants, talk to him.
Is that a mistake that they let him go?
I think stuff kind of got too far. I think it was too far to mend it, man.
Yeah.
Because you gotta let him go because it's just too much.
Because even outside of the allegations, man,
you didn't think he was set up or nothing like that?
See,
because he wasn't doing stuff that them boys wanted.
When it was the first ones that came out, I was like, wow, this is very coincidental. Just because black people are conspiracy theorists naturally. because but the thing is, like,
we have one or two conspiracies out there.
What I'm saying is that we're justified because they actually have enacted conspiracies against us. So I
What was you gonna say,
understand.
the white man what?
We always
true.
think the white man trying to get after us.
We heard
because
it. COINTELPRO was true, man.
We put our foot down, and the next thing you know, all this stuff started happening.
Like, it's actually historically proven that all these stuff has happened to us before. So I understand it, but it got to a point where it's like, okay, they're all saying the same type of behavior happened, and it's so many.
I felt bad.
Yeah, and then one of the girls, it really was, man. So
mostly for the women, and I don't know who, with those, it's so touchy.
Yeah.
You don't want to make a mention of it, but you just hope everybody involved are whatever happened.
Just hope you can move on with your life.
Yeah,
that's really all you can do.
I haven't been watching ball. How has he been performing?
So his first game is this Sunday against the Houston Texans
in Houston here.
They did this for the drama.
Of course.
That's politics.
So this was the catch.
Oh goodness.
So so they've been trying to figure out how many games he was going to get, and the original amount of games he got was 6 games. So the NFL had the right to appeal it and make it more games. They made it 11 games. And so after his 11-game suspension, the next game would be against the Houston Texans.
Did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We don't know that to be the case.
Roger Goodell, we did not actually claim that. That was Madd Hatta over here. So do not sue us.
What y'all doing.
No, this is the crazy part. I don't even know if you heard about this. So the lawyer that was representing all the women, he actually bought a suite at NRG for the game, and he invited 10 of the accusers to be there to watch the game.
Why would they want to be at that game?
I don't know.
I think that was the question everybody was asking.
What's old boy? I know old buddy. I can't think of his name right now. It's not Rusty.
Tony Busby.
Oh, Tony Busby.
Tony Busby.
That's something that Tony probably
it is. That's the funny part about it.
That's probably
that was a bit of a head scratcher.
Mr. Busby, that's probably in bad things. Those ladies, if bad things happen to them, they don't want to go to the, but maybe he's trying to intimidate them or be bad luck for him when he plays. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't think
see, that's right up Tony Busby's playbook, because I feel like he's all about the headlines.
Well, that definitely
got the headlines.
Well, I gave y'all something to talk about.
Yeah, I'm sick of talking about Deshaun, man. To be honest, we've been talking about it for 2 years.
Yeah. Straight.
Yeah.
Y'all might be talking about him some more after this game if he whip up on the Texans.
Yeah, it's possible. It most likely.
How would y'all feel if he went out there and he just blew the Texans out?
Honestly, I think the way this season has gone, because right now they're currently 1-9-1. So the season been really bad the last 2 games.
So your expectation is?
So I think a lot of people are out. I think people don't even care at this point.
So nobody probably be watching this game. What's your prediction for the game? What's the score? Are we dating this? Because I don't know when you guys are gonna play.
We're gonna release it before the game.
Oh, okay.
Wait, is Kyle Allen still starting?
Yeah.
Okay, it's gonna be bad. I'm gonna say, like,
how do you guys do that? Do you all ever feel bad for? I never was really good at that. Just being disparaging to another human being, and you guys got to do that in sports. Is it easier for you?
I mean, as far as me and Figgy,
because how do you tell somebody who's playing in the NFL, obviously he had to be great somewhere, that he's not great?
I feel, me and Figgy don't really do that. I always thought that was kind of corny to say somebody's trash. I was never into that. I never liked saying, you could say he's playing horribly.
Okay.
But to say somebody is trash because they had a bad game, like there's certain ways that I just don't feel comfortable talking about another person, especially if there's another black person.
A grown man.
A grown man. These dudes are kids. Like, they're like 22, 23 years old. I'm not going to say that dude is trash, man. But, I mean.
But what if he is? According to NFL standards.
Because the funny thing is, this is what the whole Kwame Brown debate. Did you see that whole thing that happened with Kwame Brown, who was an NBA player who played 15 years ago for the Lakers? He got traded. They brought in Paul Gasol to the Lakers, and the Lakers won championships with Kobe Bryant. And Stephen A. Smith was a guy who went hardest on Kwame Brown. He was like,
I remember
this man, he went on a whole rant talking about he's a scrub. He can't play the game of basketball. Then Kwame Brown comes out like a year or two ago, and he finally addresses Stephen A. Smith. And he basically says, how I was 18 years old. How can you go on TV, with my parents and my family listening and say I'm trash, and that brought a human element. Like, we're talking about people here, man.
That's right.
So you can say they're playing poorly, but I think the discourse goes too far sometimes. You forget these are kids, basically, especially in the NBA, 18, 19 years old.
Absolutely.
You got a family. So it's just a slippery slope. Sometimes you just don't want to go too far with it.
I hear some guys, they say some terrible things.
It gets ugly.
Oh, yeah.
It gets
Some
ugly.
terrible things. And sometimes I take it personal for the players.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, wow, I get it. He's not good, but come on, man. He got to the NFL, and not a lot of people get there.
I feel like you could say this person isn't really good or not performing good, but when you start saying he suck, he's trash, and all this other stuff, that's a little harsh.
Especially coming from,
and it's funny because it's like I don't like to be the person that say, "Oh, you ain't even playing the NFL."
Yeah, but it's true.
But that's what I was getting ready to say.
Like, dog,
this
you're
guy
a nerdy
ass,
you're a nerdy old ass white man sitting here saying this dude suck. It's like, no, you never played before. So how you gonna sit here telling me I should have made this block or I should have made this catch? I suck. Like, let's see you get out there. I hate doing that, but
well,
damn,
that raises the point though that we need to see more people who look like you guys actually talking about those games. And it's always good to me to have at least one person in the room that participated.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
You were out there, you played the game, you know what's going on, you knew what was going on. You can speak on it from a very informed place, not some guy who's just a huge fan who went to broadcast school. And I get it though. I'm not knocking that guy too, because he put in his time and he probably really knows the game. And then, just like in radio. We met I had some program directors, they probably would suck on the air.
Yeah.
But they can tell you how to go out and be great and how to, be a better jock. And I've had that. So, could that be the case where somebody could give that opinion because they studied the game? Maybe, but maybe watch the way we're talking about some of these young guys. Because like you said, especially when like a football or something like, well, all of them. All these guys are young because they get booted up, by the time. And then then what I really hate the most about all these games is when these guys get out and there's no protection for them, particularly in football. It seems like a lot of these guys, they get out the game and 30 years old and no dough.
Yep.
And where do they go? They spent their whole life from here learning this game. You know what I'm saying?
Just to be out at the age of 28.
Yeah, and then life really is just really kicking in at 28. Yours is done, bro.
Yeah.
They gotta, to me, do better. And I think a lot of these owners, they live off the backs of these young black players who have given them the riches that they have. And then for them to not get compensated later on, it just seems. Anyway, I know we probably veered off, but
no, it's good. And it makes sense because you talked about how, once you left your job, you kind of had to figure this thing out. Like,
I'm still figuring out.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. I'm a broke DJ trying to make it, man.
Yeah. And it's tough because
we'll work for food, baby.
Yeah, it's tough too because like a job like you can't just put that on the resume and just apply somewhere. We got unique positions.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine a football player trying to get into a corporate job.
Oh, exactly.
Are you gonna put I was an NFL running back for
and a lot of, don't get me wrong, a lot of these guys, they went to good schools. Hopefully they
graduated, got a degree or something.
You hope that they went to school and got something that they really love and not some BS degree because they were just trying to take some classes to get to the NFL. That's what you hope. But some of those, and here I am being a jock again. But I gotta ask, because you guys, sports is what you know. What do you think about these players now that they can be endorsed when they're in college and stuff like
the
that?
NILs? I think it's good, man.
I don't think it's really changed anything. Like they were getting paid anyway. It was just like teams would.
They was getting.
True.
I think they was getting paid regardless. But now you can see somebody like a Bryce Young in a Pepsi commercial or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. They don't have to feel like they're doing something illegal. Some of these kids, let's be honest, probably won't have a life after college ball.
Yeah.
Hopefully if they got their parents or some good manager or something, these guys make enough money that they can sock it away, and maybe went to school and got a really good, degree, and they can do something with that. But even if not, they've taken this money, maybe bought a couple of homes or invested it into some good stuff where they got some residuals coming. So I'm all for it. I'm all about the above board. Now, it's going to still always be unfair, right? Because there's going to be some guys, they're going to get all the money.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be that one guy, he might not get nothing at all.
Oh, yeah.
But that's life.
Yeah.
You work, you become better, you try harder, and hopefully you can be the guy that gets all the dough. But I like the idea that I think they should be getting something. A lot of those colleges do.
Yeah.
And
they
a lot
make
of these,
they make a lot of money off of these.
I want to see them going to more black schools. That's what I would really love to see. That would be amazing to see. I love everything that Deion's saying.
Yeah, I was about to say
he's probably gonna leave, but
he helping.
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
Yeah, I mean,
I hope he don't go.
Where'd that come from? Y'all must.
When the big
guys know stuff.
I mean, because it's the same thing as we were just talking about independent and major label. You know, the HBCU is independent. You know, I mean, it is.
Wow, that's an interesting way to look at it. Gee whiz.
When they knock on your door and say, "We got these millions for you if you come over here,"
but Deion has millions.
But he could always have more.
You're right. That's the way I feel.
Because he did confirm that Colorado gave him an offer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's gonna go to Colorado, but if Florida State or somebody like that,
oh yeah, he probably.
Yeah,
right.
And they'll give him a huge message.
I never even took the time to think about that. Man, you blow my high, man. That sucks. I never thought about that.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's true.
They'll just take them away, and that's what they always did. They take us away, like we'll just give you this money.
That's all it takes, man. That's all it takes. There's integrity.
But you got to think about do you not think about yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
do you sacrifice yourself for the greater? For the cause, so to speak.
I mean, you mentioned this as well. That's a slippery slope, man, because you mentioned that you did that and then it wasn't reciprocated. I mean, the same thing that happened to Deion too. You know, he said, "No, I'm staying here," and then they don't treat him like he feels they should treat him. Yeah. He's like, "I could have made tens of millions if I just went to Florida State or whatever, but I stayed here for y'all and y'all treat me like this." So it just depends on what's best for a situation, honestly, man.
Yeah.
If he can afford it and he can just say, "I don't need the money, I just want to coach these kids," that would be great.
I don't think that he needed the money when he went to this school. I think that he just wanted to do something dope and turn some young folks around. And I think he's actually doing that, man.
He actually changed that whole city. The city of Jackson, Mississippi.
I think he is, and he pissed off a couple of people doing it too.
Oh,
and I don't have a problem with the people that he pissed off.
You ain't swag. So I want to ask you about some current events, man. Some things that have happened around the city that we haven't heard your thoughts on. Have you ever met the Migos? Like the Migos, as in Takeoff? Yeah, Takeoff.
No,
Offset,
I haven't,
Quavo.
man. But man, truth. I always thought I loved that guy's voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought he was the most slept on one in the group. That's my personal opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah. The other ones were more flamboyant, and one's dating Cardi and all that. But I always thought he was the backbone of the sound of that group. This is just my opinion, so please don't.
I think a lot of people had the same opinion.
Yeah,
I just thought he was really the backbone and sound of that group. The other ones, they were the spices and like the little cream on the cake. Ones. Yeah, but he was the backbone of it. And just that situation to be an innocent bystander. Sometimes this is where rap hurts you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how in hip hop, and I hate to sound like those other people who point at like, look at them, because this doesn't happen in country music, but it doesn't. This doesn't happen in rock music. And they might have drugs and all this stuff, but man, us murdering each other and who's at fault here? And then there's so many fingers that you want to point at. This is a devastating game. I feel bad for the hip hop community. I really feel bad for his family. It is really unfortunate. I hate that it happened in Houston. I hate all of it. You know, the guy was only 28. I heard he didn't have a will. It's just so many things about this that just made me go, ugh. We got to get better at all these things. It has to be to resolve your issue. It can't be that I shoot somebody.
Yeah.
And let me be frank. I don't know what happened. I don't know the full story. I wasn't there. I didn't watch. I get tired of watching clips of us killing each other.
Yeah.
So I did not really take a look at it. I didn't want to see it because social media, we see so much death. We already see so much death and destruction with movies and TV shows. And we also see a lot of destruction on social media regularly that's real. Like if something happens to somebody, we see the video. Somebody jumped off the building, we can see it on Instagram. If somebody got shot here, you know, the kid that went and murdered all the folks in Buffalo, he did it live. You know, we actually watch this stuff. And I just don't choose to participate in the liking that or helping that feed to populate to more people. But Takeoff was devastating. Because he's a young man. He's 28, man. You just starting to figure out what this thing called life is. It's starting to just come into fine tune. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just tragic. It's tragic. And I heard that and I feel bad for the ones Cardi's husband was
Offset.
Offset.
Yeah.
I heard he's super devastated because there was some lingering issues going on. He's going to be in a bad place for a while. And I even heard Cardi, you know, she probably didn't mean to, but saying like, yo, he's in the place I can't pull him out of. And I hope she does, or he gets some help. But, you know, when you've beefed with somebody that's family, kin, brother, and they gone, because you think that one day we'll work it out. In the back of your head, no matter how mad you are at this family, you think y'all going to work it out at some point. Even, when we get 40, we'll be cool.
Of course.
You think you got time. You didn't know that you were on a timetable already. So that is just devastating. That's the only thing I say. It's devastating. It sucks. And anytime, and you know, we've had a lot of fallen soldiers in our city, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy devastating. Man.
Which one? Because you've been through it all in Houston.
So you've been through
like honestly, you have. Like, which one hit you the hardest in terms? Like, we've had so many. We've had Hawk, Fat Pat, of course, Pimp C, you know, Big Mello. So many who we've lost. Which one really stung you?
I don't want to say like one impact. I'm not
saying like the rest
like
didn't matter, but like which one really hurt you the most?
I was close to Big Mello. I was very close to Big Mello, and Big Mello was one of the first rappers in the city to embrace me as a human being, not as the DJ Madd Hatta that worked at the radio station. I mean, he looked at me like he made me feel like a human being. And I don't know really. I'm saying that word, and no one everybody else treated me like Hatter, the DJ that can probably play my record. No disrespect to any of those people. Mello treated me like he's my friend. And so that Original E, another one of our fallen soldiers, all of them hurt, man. None of them, you know, Pimp C.
Yeah.
You know, because I know, you know, his wife. And man, Pimp would call us and say some of the most outlandish things that we never, because I always felt like my job was to protect until some really bad stuff happened with a rapper in the city. So we never would air some of the stuff that Pimp would say, but Pimp would call us early in the morning and we would like just go on automation and just sit there for
let
real
him rant
and let him just talk.
So it's
to
like
us.
a Ray J
and
Breakfast Club type of situation.
But we never aired none of this stuff. I might have maybe one or two of the calls saved somewhere.
Hey now.
But I would never release it.
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
just not going to do that. But and not that he was saying anything bad. Pimp was just he's Pimp C, and Pimp is just Pimp. And he would just say sort of crazy. He just make you laugh, man. And then he always, I love y'all, man, and just hang up. Now I just look at everybody. All right, y'all. Well, let's get to work, and we'll just go from there. But it's Pimp C, so everything paused. It was, and there's no such thing as a good death, right? All these guys were so young.
Yeah,
they still had so much life. They still had so many cool things that they could have done. They all were tragedies. They all were tragic. A lot of people hurt behind all these people. 3, 2, big. It's just too many to name. And I'm happy that they left a mark on the city. I'm still unhappy about the fact that they didn't get the opportunity to see what they are. Like Screw. He saw some of it, but the impact of what he does. You got R&B pop stars who screw down songs in the middle.
Yeah,
there's one place where they got that from, and this human being doesn't get the opportunity to see the impact and city pride. You can be in New York and you might see somebody wearing a shirt that says Screwston on it, and you immediately know that you have a friend. Y'all look at each other. Houston, you know it, baby. Southside for real. Okay, I got you. But you're in the middle of Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? So this guy helped to give this city a certain sense of pride. It's just devastating. All of them, like I said, there's no such thing as a good one or a better one. They all were impactful. They all hurt. It all left people devastated. It left many holes in this city, and I think they all had things that they still had to give to not just the city, but to their families and friends and stuff like that. So it's just they've all been devastated. I stopped going to the funerals after a while.
It's tough, man.
But I will say that one or two of them, there were some people that I would see there, and we did. We were people that you might not have connected with for various reasons. You would see them there, and you hate that to be the reason why
of course
you connect. But sometimes, unfortunately, bad things make people say, you know what, maybe I'm tripping.
Yeah,
maybe you were tripping. Maybe I'm glad we had an opportunity to talk. That's what some of them. I would not do that with everyone.
No, I feel you. I mean, now you say that, like, I'm not going to ask you to go over the whole thing with Trey. I know you talked about that pretty extensively on the Donnie Houston podcast.
I did.
So y'all could go check that. So, I mean, I'm not going to have you repeat the whole story because we've already heard it now. But I was wondering how you felt. I mean, I know you were cool with Zero, and I know you were aware of that situation that happened. A lot of people felt a certain way when certain videos came out, how it portrayed versus what was said at first. I know you've gone past that. That was years ago. You've moved on with your life. But how did you feel seeing that? Did you kind of feel in a way that this is what I was talking about, y'all? Or like, did you feel anything like that?
Here's the thing. When it comes to any artist in this city, I expect for them to take the side of the artist because I get looked at as corporate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I stand for everything that, in some situations, you just need somebody to hate. And I'm just the easiest person to hate. I'm not from Houston, so I'm an outsider. I work for
the radio guy.
Yeah, I'm a DJ. I'm not from the south side or the north side, although I represent most cities to the fullest. So it's easy. And, I can sit there and tell you exactly what happened. And the truth of the matter is, you still wouldn't give a shit anyway.
Yeah.
It wouldn't change your opinion. There would be people, well, this person did more for the community than this person. Well, I don't have to go promote what I do. I just do it because, I do it. So I'm not trying to, win some popularity thing on it. I think the situation that occurred with us was really sad on so many levels. It was asked to be stopped for several years, and it never did. It started being used as a promotional tool, and and I'm always feel that way. But like I said, I don't think I'm not here to make somebody see my point of view.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm way beyond it and don't care. If you take your side and run with it, I'm not trying to earn a point. I don't get anything, from this. For me, it was a black eye for all involved, the city, the other artists that had nothing to do with it because no one wanted to participate. Zero took a stand because he knows some things that other people didn't know. And he got probably ridiculed from some of his insiders. I always respected that. I always will. And I also, the people that didn't want to get involved. I heard something Mandela once said, and you probably heard this before. When he got out, there was some reporter that was in the audience and asked him some question like, well, you're working with Gaddafi and this person, and I'm paraphrasing, but Mandela says something, the enemy of my, what do you say? The enemy of my friend, the enemy is my friend, maybe something like that. The enemy of my enemy don't make him my enemy.
Fair enough.
So, and I had to look at that situation like that. Just because I might have felt wronged in a situation, that person didn't wrong them. So I have to understand and respect their opinion. And I did. Some people just don't want to be involved. I ain't touching that. I don't want to be part of it. I don't want nobody to hate me. And like I said, I'm the easiest person to hate in that situation. And you just have to become okay with that. I'm never going to try to mend it though. I'm always clear. I was clear with the individual that dealt with that situation. That person knows why. They can promote it any way they want to. And I'm totally fine with it. When I saw what happened to Zero, my only thing I did was I hit him because I know Zero.
Yeah.
And I think the city knows Zero.
Of course.
And you're grown. And what I didn't want him to feel like he had to do was go and I need to go get some get back. I think that he's in a beautiful place in life. Where he was a bad place years ago. And through your love of music that you were able to share with other people, it's giving you a lifestyle.
Yeah.
That is just incredible to me. I've been to his house and hung with people close to him. And I'm like, look at this, man. I remember where this guy was at. I mean, there was a time where trust me, I know Zero had choice words for me too. Even did songs with me when he was a youngster. So I'm used to that. But to have seen him grow into the human being he is, I didn't want him to think that it's time to retaliate and start doing stuff, because life has a way to get those that do bad deeds, in my opinion. So my only thing I did is say, one, are you all right? And just because something bad happens to you don't mean you return it, because there's a higher power that got you in a place that is really, really great. And when you start doing things because somebody did something to you, it can turn into something else. And I said, there's a lot of people who love what you do and what you've done for the city. And mostly just to see you turn around as a human being and a man. If you know what Zero once was, just to see him be a responsible, cool adult is kind of cool. Be that person, and so that's all I said. This is one of the rare times we didn't both get into a whole bunch of conversation or anything. I just hit him. You good? He said it how he said it. I said, but you'll be good. You'll be good. And I think he's okay, man. I think he's okay. And he got some pretty decent people around him.
Yeah.
Now. And it was an unfortunate, all of it, everything that happened, from what happened with us and anything bad that happened in this city. It's terribly unfortunate. And I think if everybody could go back, there's things that could have been done or conversations that could have been had. And, I think there's those that think they had conversations that should have changed things, but it didn't. So they are what they are. But I just don't want to see somebody that I love and respect to feel like, oh, I got to go do this now. Because I might feel like we have this thing with
ego,
brothers.
man. Ego.
Our manhood is at stake. like, nah, it's not that kind of situation. And I'm really happy that people got the opportunity to see the flip side of the story that was being told.
Yeah.
You know, I wish that there was video for the flip side of my story of some stuff that we went through. But again, you know, I'm older, and at this point I have nothing to prove. If you love me, you love me. If you hate me, you hate me. There's nothing I can do about it. I got this beautiful baby that is the apple of, you know, my eye, and I got a good family, and my kids love me, man. My girl, I'm just really blessed, man. So I can't, you know, even after walking away from radio, which people like, I hate when the part that hurts the most is when people want something bad to happen to you. And so I saw people like, he got fired, and like, hooray. I'm like, so you're gonna bask in some other man's downfall? And even with all the hateful stuff that has happened to me with other people, I want them to be okay.
Yeah.
Because the more okay they are, the more I ain't got to connect with them. So it's amazing to me that people dance on what they think is bad. And you want to get out there and scream like, player, I ain't get fired. I was really good. In fact, I was at home for 4 months after I left because that's what I wanted to do. And I had to call him and say, hey, bro, nah, you got to move on. So, you know, it's just amazing, that kind of thought process. But again, the bottom line is there's not going to be anything. I'm not going to be in a position ever to want to sway anybody's opinion, make them believe. Although I think it's interesting how social media is amazing of what you can promote as you, and everybody believes it.
Yes,
there's no, and we see it so often now. And what becomes the truth is what you promote the most. So if I promote my truth more than you ever promote yours, and I don't see you on social media, and I don't see you doing this, and I get the story that you're the bad guy, you must be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Until something happens and you get to see who the bad guy really is. Then you got to question everything that you believe. But if you don't want to, don't do it on my behalf. Madd Hatta's good. God has been very gracious with me. The artists that I had on my label have been very good to me. My family's good to me. I got these guys asking me to be on their podcast, and here I am, some outsider in the city of H-Town that had a 30-year career.
You still call yourself an outsider, man. You've been here for what, 30 years now, 20, 25?
I still feel like an outsider.
Really?
I do. But I love this city. I know I'm of it. Like when people, it's funny when you hear people like you yourself giving me props. You're an integral part of this hip hop scene. And I always stop people. And back in the days, people started always wanting me to talk about Screw. And I got to the place where I would not talk about Screw because it would be so much. There would be, man, I've seen so many people say so many venomous things about me as it relates. Oh, he didn't let Screw be at the radio station. Yeah. I'm like, y'all know I didn't run the radio station. I was just a DJ. But tell your story, I guess, and somebody will believe you. Somebody didn't. It's just really crazy. And like I said before, the bottom line is you just got to be okay with knowing that everyone is not going to like you, which is hard in our business and as a human being, because everyone wants to be liked and everybody.
But it feels like you think a lot of people hate you. Like
I
a lot of people.
Well, I'm kind of manic depressive, so negative things, and I'm still that way. I still have to work. I have to work on, I try to live in love, especially these days, because I do say a lot of apologies to people, because when I was in radio, man, I was so focused that I really couldn't hate you, because I was just so focused on, I got to make this money, and I got to have enough to make sure I take care of my kids, and I got to make sure I got enough to take care of my mom, and I got to make this money. I got to make this money. I got to be number one. I got to make this money. I got to be number one. And I missed so many people. I mean, literally, there was people that I was working with down, where I was for 20 years. I didn't know their names because I didn't ever have lunch with them. I never slowed down to talk to people because I was super focused. And I missed a lot of life. And what I try to do now, especially now having this kid, is I'm going to smell every moment, absorb every moment, be aware every moment, and even with people. And I'm always honored, like when you guys ask me to be a part of, like, man, I don't really know what, like I hit and I told him, hey man, I ain't really been keeping up with sports, bro. I don't know if I'm a person with this podcast. So I appreciate the offer. He's like, oh, no, wait a minute. But I appreciate it, man. And even with Donnie, man, and I know he wanted to ask questions about what had happened, but these guys, y'all go into detail. Like, I got 2 favorite songs of yours. And you hear this, you be like, me? No, and you happy to hear, but it just there might be some negative thing in there. And that's something I still to this day, you just got to work on, man. Like I said, I think you believe so much of the negative, and you try to put out so much love, even still to this day, you'll end up in some of those comments under Donnie's thing, and somebody was like, what did the person say? Yeah, I heard he was doing some stuff to some rappers back then. Like what? I didn't play their record. Is that what you want? I didn't play their record. I did them wrong. There's one thing, and this is the truth. Every rappers that dealt with me will tell you, they all got money. Mm-hmm. They can't never say I took anything from them. I never tried to stop anybody. And you could say it a million times to, my face is bluer than my dark skin blue that it is now. And there's still going to be some people that are not going to hear you. And you just have to be comfortable in knowing that everyone is not going to feel you. They're not going to believe you. They're going to think that you're a liar. And then you want to sit there and like, but what would that prove if I lied? Or what? There's nothing you can do about it. So
but I feel like you always circle back to that, though, that nobody's going to, like I said, I think you think you're more hated than you are, though. I don't.
You're like, I have no problem with going to therapy right now, talking to him. This is therapy right now.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
And I can honestly say you're probably right. And I think that was my driving force. That's probably why I lasted so long in the city, to be honest with you. Because, you can go back to my albums and can I get a little love? Say what you want to say. They were all, other than Down South and After the Club, they all dealt with, some need for love.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah, I can psychoanalyze myself. But they were. Say what you want to say. You're not going to hurt me. I'm going to still keep grinding, and I'm going to still make it. Can I get a little love? You're begging these people to give you an opportunity, to give you a break. And, when you see stuff like, man, how can you attack me? You don't know me. You know one side of the story, and that's your truth. Or this one thing, or you heard me on the radio. It's and even before that, it could be something that they heard on the radio, or man, y'all corny. And you're like, I'm okay with that. I don't mind being corny sometimes. I think it's all, I want to be all things. I want to give you a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I can be serious. I can be the cool DJ, but I want to be a human being. And again, so you might be absolutely right. I'm totally fine with that. Those are my issues. I
feel you.
And you wake up, and like I said, you wake up in the morning and you try again. And for me at this point is to hear a little bit more. And I still try to lead in love. Like, so many people don't know. I see this human being. I can't say anything because I made it clear where I stand and 100% why. And I will never tell the full story because it's none of your damn business. I mean, it's crazy as that sound. I'll let you believe the negative story because for me, the bigger picture is that you have this idea of what your city is as it relates to these rappers in the city.
Yeah.
And for me, that's way more important than a DJ's role in what you think about what he did or what he said. You know what I'm saying? And so if that person goes down as your favorite hero of all time, I'm really fine with that.
But it's also the fact that they can't, like, anybody, and that's the thing we learned in radio too. People will trash you anonymously. Me and Figgy have gotten it. But when you actually engage with these people, their energy changes.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I've seen that. Seen that.
It's definitely not just like they have an opinion, but once they see, oh, you're just a regular guy, because whenever they hear your voice on the radio, they see you with the big audience. They're like, oh, he's like the king over here. So we can
treat you different.
Exactly.
So, and you're absolutely right about that. And you can visibly see it.
Yeah.
You can visibly see it. I've seen people who look one particular way because they think you're going to be a particular way, and they walk up to you. And then back in the days, I was kind of big too. I was 245, and me and Mac in the gym all the time. So you get a different kind of energy when you're a big dude.
Yeah.
But you're 100% right. I agree with you 1000%. You do. I don't want to call people trolls.
They are
everybody, but everyone has an opinion, and social media has made it where everyone can have an opinion. And the scary thing about it, though, and me out of it, when you see how it can affect younger people.
Yeah.
Like there have been kids because of things that have happened with social media, because people can be so ugly and say so many hateful things that people have hurt themselves because they can't see themselves out of it. So, you have to be careful going down that deep hole of hatred too. You got to remember, and like I said before, when you kind of manic depressive, you gotta figure out things you can do to jar yourself back into play. And so over time you learn how to do that. But I'm a human being. It hurts because you want to sit there and yell like, hey, you got the story wrong. But again, if I went to the top of the mountain, I screamed it word for word. It was transcribed. A movie was made out of it. At the end of the movie, they would still say, man, they lied.
Sometimes that's true. Sometimes, a lot of times that's true. But
Osteen, sometimes some people will hate you. Some people will love you. 25% of the people love you, will always love you. They love you to death. 50%, when you're moving up the quarter, they love you, but this quarter right here, they can be made to hate you. Right? The 3/4, 75, or we call it the 3/4, they hate you, but they can be made to love you. 1/4 of them hate you. In life, all you can do is worry about the 1/4. The ones that love you, and super serve them. And if somebody comes around and loves you later, cool. If somebody falls out of love, that's cool. But worry about the 1/4.
Yeah.
And as much as you hear that, listen, it's still gonna burn you.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna have something to say about what you was wearing, your shoes, your hair. Somebody gonna have something.
I get it all the time, man.
But you know what? It makes you feel good. You feel good about you. And there's somebody out there, your girl, your mama, your family, your friends, co-workers, somebody that loves the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And you got to focus in and tap in to them.
Yeah.
You can't worry about those words because it's a miscellaneous person doing this that you'll never bump into.
Yeah.
You'll never see. They ain't gonna ever support you in any kind of way. So all you can do is super serve those that do love you and try to remember them. And I got lucky because I forgot about them, because I was so overindulged at just seeing the hate right here. But I got lucky because at least I was trying to super serve that one need that I had. And that was to give what I wish somebody was giving me when I was younger, or what I heard on the radio when I was younger that I wish that I want to pass on to somebody else. And so at the end of the day, that's all you can do. But I have no ill to pass on to anybody. Like I try to operate in 100% love, and I don't want no drama, and I ain't bringing none. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So we all need to be, man. Honestly, we all need to be.
That's the best thing to do, man.
Yes,
because
sir.
I usually, whenever people give me compliments and saying, "Oh, you're doing a good job on the radio," I always try to show them support.
Yeah.
I always try to acknowledge it, because the one thing I hate is when celebrities only acknowledge the hate. Like, I could be sitting there tweeting somebody like, "Man, this album is so good," or
That's a good
this person.
point. That's a good
And
point.
they never
and I never
acknowledge
say
it.
nothing.
But
Yeah,
if somebody
that's
say
good.
the album is trash, then they give all the energy to that.
What Cardi B do. Not
Yeah.
to point her out specifically.
Yeah,
but
You know
so
what?
it's just
That's
like
a
me.
good-
I
that's
don't
a
want.
good point.
I don't want to be like
Let
that.
me say, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate that, because not to do a Jay-Z line, you could have had anybody here, but you chose for me to be here. So I do appreciate that, and I do believe that there are some. We downplay the stuff that we do so much, man. And I can't tell you. And I do know why I do it. When I first started off in radio, and I'll say this, Rick Party, when I was starting off, there was no black jocks that would give me any instructions. I would give them, back in our business, it's called air checks.
Yeah.
So I would give this certain morning man my air checks. He never would tell me anything about if I sucked, if I was good, if I was anything. And I really looked up to this cat named Rick Party. He was one of the few black people that was incredible on the radio in my youth. And I'm saying that, but Rick is probably like 2 years older than me, but he was already far down the road than all of the rest of us. And I don't know what made me do it, man. I wrote a little fanboy letter. I don't know if I should be ashamed of that or not. It's the one time where I wasn't trying to be this cool black guy. And I just broke down and said, because I watched the video air checks, and y'all don't probably know what that is, but you could visually see what the DJ was doing in the studio. I listened to the air checks, and he was the only black guy out there doing it. And I was like, hey, man, I just think that you're awesome, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Would you listen to my air check and just listen to it, and if you can, cool, not, but man, I really love what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And I forgot all about it. And probably 2-3 weeks later, back in the days when you mailed stuff, he mailed back something. To this day, I still have it, and I live by it to this day. He said, just real short, you're going to make it. You're good. He said, but just always be humble. So I'm so humble that if you say something good, my brain erases it.
Yeah.
Immediately, because I'm also of the generation of don't believe the hype.
Yeah.
So the flip side of me is also, if you gassing me up, my brain is, why is he really gassing?
You must have some secret intention.
So because of this, so remember, I'm from the Public Enemy, don't believe the hype era. Yeah. This other guy gave me this. So all these things it mixes into who I became as a human being. So when you say, oh man, I think you're great, and you did this, and you did this for so many years, and you helped out this with hip hop, my brain is hearing, no, don't want to be a part of that. No, I remember some other people that was hating me with this different organization. So you can, very last story, Shannara Butler. I love Pimp C's wife. She's the first one to call me out on this. There was something going on, and she came to me and asked me to host. I forgot. I think it was at Rice University for Pimp C when they did this induction thing for him at Rice. And she said, "Hat, I want you to come host it for me." I'm like, "Oh no." And Shannara Butler, she's kind of strong with, she's strong woman. She like, what you mean no? I said, Shannara, I don't want to be part of that. What you mean you don't want to be part of it? She's like, really, she's like, this is Pimp C, bro. This is UGK. This Bun. What you mean? I said, I don't, when it comes to like Screw, UGK, I don't really want, I want to stay out of that. She said, you're hurt.
Yeah. What do you say to that?
I said, what? She said, you letting these people hurt you. She said, I don't care how you feel about all them. I just asked you to host this thing for me and Pimp. Whoever hurt you, whatever stuff that's going on these streets, I don't give a shit. But my expectation is to see on this night at this time hosting this about my husband, and I want you to be there. What was my response?
Of course, you got to show up, man.
Yes, ma'am. My response was, yes, ma'am. You know why? Because she was 1,000% right. You have allowed these people to hurt you in such a way that you get the chance to be a part of something historic, that you will walk away from it just because what these MFs are saying to you, and you're allowing it to interrupt your flow. But you are a part of all these people's lives. And it's okay for you to participate with their lives. You're not trying to take it over or anything like that, but you can participate in their growth. And she said, if you don't want to participate for them, you are going to be a part of this for me, because this is what I asked you to do.
That's real. That's real love, man. That's real love. And that's honestly, like it's so hard to get people like I said, man, I'm the same way. You know, I don't believe my hype anytime. Like I'm to the point where sometimes I don't think anything I do is good. So it's like, man, I don't even want to promote this because, you know, I don't know. But then somebody tells me it's good, you almost don't believe them, you know. But you just have to let that part of yourself go, man, and just accept the love. And look, sometimes people are shysty and scheming. Sometimes they'll hype you up and then ask for something. But like it's easy to assume the worst of everybody. It's easy to say, you know, nobody wants me here because they're gonna hate on me. It's harder to actually fully accept the love and just understand that people can be genuine. You know, that's really the hard part, and that's something I'm learning too.
Learning, getting some game.
You know, it's true because like me and my family did a whole Thanksgiving thing, and we said what we're thankful for, and like hearing that stuff, hearing people talk about what I like, it was cringy to me, man. I'm like, but like that's how it's my family. They ain't got no reason to lie to me, man. So like it's just you have to let that go and just understand. Like when I was hyping you up, that wasn't no bullshit, man. You were an important part of my childhood and my life. You're an important part of a lot of people's lives in Houston.
Well, thank you.
You know, so even though there was such bullshit drama, all the stuff happened, people hate on you on the comments, man. I'm sure you were important to a lot more people than the people who are in those comments hating.
Sure. Absolutely. But can I get a little love? Can I get a little?
Classic, man. Classic,
well, thank
dog.
you. Thank you, man. I really appreciate y'all, man. And it's good to hear that. I think we all need to sometimes hear those kind of things. I think sometimes, again, man, people put you on this, I don't want to call it pedestal, but it's the only word I got right now. And then people love to shoot you off of it.
Yeah.
And you know, you just learn how to deal with it. It was not anticipated though. Like if somebody would have told me ahead of time, you're going to work hard to do all the things you want to do in life, but it's going to be a couple of months. They ain't going to feel you. Maybe I could have prepared myself for that. I thought that I was just like, hey man, I'm gonna work real hard and make my mama proud and make sure she can have a comfortable house to live in. And I never anticipate all this other stuff. You don't, but you know, as you get older, you learn that it's what comes with it. Hey man, you try to break it down like, hey, they talked about Jesus, but you know, you see, they say negative things.
It's worse than talk about them.
No doubt. You're right about that one. But you know, you see these entertainers, and you know, they are really on top of the world, and people are taking shots at them regularly.
Yep.
And it doesn't look like it's affected their lives one bit because they still live in it. But I'm sure that it hurts them. You know, even Jigga, you know, he let you know that he heard what you're saying in a couple of his rap songs.
He said he sounded a lot like you. Like his song on Watch the Throne, what's it called? Why They Love You or Why I Love You? Where that's basically a remake of your Can I Get a Little Love? Go back and listen to that song of Watch the Throne. It's the same content.
That Jigga comparison.
and now that you said that, final question, man. Okay. Final question. We heard your favorite H-Town rappers before. I want to know who your favorite, like let's say a top 5 overall non-Houston rappers. We'll put it like that. Who are your top 5 non-Houston rappers?
Rakim.
Okay.
Obviously Jigga, KRS, Nas, probably LL.
Okay.
I would love to throw a Kumo D and all some other guys in, but you asked for 5, so those are the 5 that I rattled off like that. They helped to bring me into where I am as a person who loves hip hop, particularly LL Cool J.
Yeah,
because for me, because you know we were all there, so to speak. He was one of the first young cats that we seen doing it. So and Rakim, because Rakim, I think he changed the tone.
Definitely.
So, but those are my favorites. But you know, you got the Snoop Dogg's, you got the Jadakiss. Oh man, Jadakiss go hard. So you know, we could do this all day. I gave you my 5.
Appreciate it, man. And you say you still have the stations going on with the shows with TSU, right?
Yeah, TSU is called the Vibe Houston. I'm just the content director. I'm not on the air.
Okay.
I think they thought when I came over there, because I loved radio so much, I'd probably do the morning show. I didn't. I asked Rob G to do it. Amir Diamond, Candy Eastman from Magic 102. Her son, he does the afternoon show over there. And then a young lady by the name of Michelle McKnight. She does nights. The odd thing about this station is 24/7, 365 app. But at night, we take over KTSU at 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the morning. So Monday through Saturday, you hear the vibe at night. If you're one of those people that still like to listen to frequency, but if you like the rest of us and you got an app, you just download the app. I still do my Super Throwback Party app. It's like an old school radio station.
Okay.
I call them music channels, but it's an app. Y'all should download that.
Yeah.
One called Classic Joints. It's all classic hip hop. I got a couple of 2000s in there just for a little flavor, but it's an old school station, plays nothing but hip hop. It's just basically a radio station. I don't really talk on that one too much. You wouldn't even know it if I didn't tell you. I do put I have a 2-hour show called Super Throwback Party, like a little 2-hour mix show that I put on radio stations. It's in Lafayette and Lake Charles. That's on there. So that's the only time that you'll hear me talk. But I was thinking about putting my own like little show on my own network, but it's just something I got to think about. And as you talk about music, I do want to drop this album that I sat on because that was something that I wanted to drop that final year. But things happen and kid born and, life just changes everything. COVID happened. But I'm sitting on it. It got everybody on there. Obviously Zero, Beat King, and EXO, Chose, and all. It's really, 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 really Fat Pimp. Really cool songs on it. It's just some of them are so foul because I work for a university now. I'm kind of scared to release it.
Now drop it, man.
Beat King is Beat
King.
Oh,
yeah. That's
EXO is EXO. I did a song with Tisa Korea. It's probably my favorite song on the album other than the one with Zero. And by the way, the one with Zero, we did a video. He killed the video, made me look bad at it. But it was so much fun to do. But I did a song with Tisa Korean called Vibes. And he was so not bad filthy, but kind of filthy. Like I'm like tongue in cheek kind of filthy, but his is bad. So again, I'm like, I think people know that I put out albums before and I said some things. I just feel, I'm a responsible adult, so you feel differently. But I was just really going in the studio, just having some fun.
Yeah.
And I if people look at it that way, I think they'll be like, oh, it's just having fun. And then the greatest hits album. But all that stuff is still happening on the website. So I still exist in the world of social media, and I call it digital real estate. So I still exist out there from a talking standpoint. Every once in a while, I'll do something on. I try to do stuff on social media and try my best not to put my son on it. But he has like the best smile in the world. Every day I'm like, oh, I want everybody to see this smile. Like I get a chance to see this smile, but I don't do it. I didn't put my other kids on there. I fought the urge with them. So I'm trying my best to fight the urge with him. But still working, man. Still working. I want to work with you guys. Y'all got some stuff popping up in here, man.
Man, we're trying. I need some help from y'all guys. Y'all ahead of the game.
We're gonna have to work on something.
No, for real, man. We just put our heads together and come up with something for real, man.
Sure. Your little the radio stuff sound pretty interesting too.
It's fun.
Let me
y'all
know
gotta,
if you need
before
something.
we leave, I want y'all to download the app, listen to it, and then hit me. It's like, oh, okay, thumbs up, or y'all get out of here.
Yeah, I might have to send you my ear check, man.
Oh. Send it to me. Send it to me. I love to listen to it.
Okay.
You got the podcast right there. You don't really need that, but
yeah.
But you got you. I'm really, hey man. Serious note. Thank you for one. Two, man. Do this and figure out a way to monetize it to the point where it's ownership for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is where we all have not really picked up the ball and ran with it.
Yeah.
It's something different when you have your own and you figure out a way to monetize it. When you wake up in the morning, your step is a little bit different. Your urgency is a little bit different. And we have to be better at that. And we haven't, and I'm talking about us brothers, we haven't done really great at working with one another, me included. We haven't done really great. We've been so, I got to get it. We haven't really thought about how we all can get it together. And I think as soon as we figure out ways to get it together, we'll be better. I know somebody will say, well, you ain't working with and I'm not going to. But other than everybody else, you know, I definitely have some people that we didn't get along years ago, and we're definitely in better spaces. And you never know in the future, man. You never know. Like I said, I operate in love, man. You never know where love will take you. So, so keep the hope alive.
Definitely. And on that note, we gonna wrap this up, man. Great conversation, of course, with Madd Hatta. Appreciate you joining us, man. Looking forward. Hopefully, we can link up and do something again in the future. Anytime you want to come through, man, for sure the door's open. You know that.
I got to learn some stuff from you guys. You guys doing some stuff. I'm not
Figgy
on
the tech wizard over here, man. This all the stuff he bought.
Figgy, whatever, man. Look, I got to figure this out, man.
Oh yeah, we can talk, man. We can talk. Yeah,
I got to figure this stuff out. Thank y'all again, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, bro. All right.
Each time for real.